Chapter 50-51. Kid, how dare you resist? Do you want to die? Elder Een and the rest were shocked by the power that Lin Xian displayed, but they were overjoyed. That way, all of them would have a chance to make a move. As expected, several elder-level figures made their moves and charged at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was cold. He knew that the other party must have gotten hold of some evidence, which was why they attacked him. It seemed like he couldn't stay in the underworld any longer. Anyway, he was ready to leave. He might as well leave. His body swayed, and a pair of black wings appeared on his back as he flew into the distance. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. What a fast speed! Elder Een and the rest were shocked and quickly gave chase. They also used Shadowless Heaven's net to chase after him. Shadowless Heaven's net. The great Emperor's divine ability allowed him to appear and disappear unpredictably. When Elder Een and the rest used it, it was extremely powerful. However, it was a pity that they were flying in a straight line. No matter how strong they couldn't catch up with Lin Xian's demon god's wings. Damn it! Quick! Informed the undead spirit race. Elder Een and the rest roared and sent out the news. When the undead spirit race's great elder heard the news, he rushed over with an overwhelming number of people and blocked the path ahead. Only then did they stop Lin Xian. Kid, where are you running to? How dare you kill our family's #1 genius? Do you think you can escape? Cold yells came one after another. They were emitting a murderous aura. There was the undead spirit race in front and the assassin temple behind. It could be said that Lin Xian was in an extremely dangerous situation. Lin Xian stood in the void with an unusually cold expression. With so many people, not to mention him, even if it was anyone else, they wouldn't be able to leave. This was also the reason why the other party sneered. The news spread out. When the assassin temple heard about it, they were in an uproar. The Blood Fury Saint and the Soul Sage frowned. The assassin temple wanted to attack Lin Xian. Damn it! What's going on? They quickly went to find out that it was Elder Een who did it. Is Elder Een crazy? The Blood Fury Saint roared. The Soul Sage Monarch was also brimming with killing intent. He was even prepared to intervene. However, at this moment, a piece of news spread. Lin Xian killed Een Tianfeng. Elder Yin's revenge was a personal grudge, and no one else was allowed to interfere. Furthermore, the news was spread by the Vice Palace Master. Damn it! Hanya and Xue Linglong gritted their teeth. Blood, Fiend Saint sighed. His eyes flickered, but he didn't make another move. Father? Linglong Xue shouted. If we don't act now, young Master Lin will really be finished. Sigh. The Blood Kill Saint sighed. The Vice Palace Master has personally given the order, and it is not something that you and I can go against. Lin Gongzi could only resign himself to fate. After saying that, the Blood Kill Saint went into seclusion. On the other side, when the Soul Sage Lord received the news, his face turned cold. Hanya asked, Father, what should we do? The Soul Sage Monarch thought for a moment, then said, I'll leave Soul to you. He took out a token and at the same time summoned the people of Soul. He said coldly, Brothers, if I'm not around, please take good care of ya. Father, Saint. Countless shouts rang out. Hanya stood out and said, I'm willing to fight with Father. The people of Soul also raised their arms and shouted, swearing to follow the saint to death. All of you. The Soul Sage Monarch took a deep breath. All right, follow me. He brought Hanya and flew into the distance. He was going to support Lin Xian. When he arrived, the aura between the two sides was even colder. The arrival of the Soul Sage Monarch caused countless people to turn their heads. The Soul Sage Monarch shouted coldly, Elder Een, what do you want? Soul Sage Monarch, you're here too, but it's useless. This kid will definitely die today. If you watch from the side, we won't do anything to you. But if you dare to help this kid, I'll destroy your soul. A cold voice sounded. Lin Xian also turned his head. Senior, there's no need to take the risk for me. The Soul Sage Monarch shook his head. I'm very disappointed in the Killer Temple. They don't even protect a genius like you. Young man, I think highly of you, so I'm prepared to help you. As he spoke, he brought those people to Lin Xian's side. Since they don't know what's good for them, I'll fulfill their wish. The people of the undead race roared. Their eyes were already red. Kill! With a roar, these people attacked fiercely. A great battle broke out in an instant. Flames burned the sky, laws danced, and lightning fell. In an instant, a terrifying power shook the surroundings. At this moment, countless people sensed it. They looked up at the distant sky and gasped. Who was fighting a great battle? Such a terrifying scene. They only dared to watch from afar. They didn't dare to get close at all. This battle was very scary. Although Lin Xian had Soul Sage Monarch and the others on his side, compared to Elder Een and the people of the undead race, the difference was too great. The difference was more than 10 times. It was even a difference of 20 times. Lin Xian appeared and disappeared like a ghost. With the Azura sword art, each sword could pierce through hundreds of saints. But it was still useless. These people seemed to have gone mad as they attacked nonstop. Lin Xian roared. He didn't hold back. The heaven-devouring jar appeared, and the great dragon soared soul-swept in all directions. The battle was abnormally intense. The undead race actually took out a legendary saint weapon. A small cauldron shook heaven and earth. The great elder controlled the small cauldron to contend with it. Elder Een launched a sneak attack and seriously injured Soul Sage Monarch. The people of the Soul Sage Monarch were also seriously injured. Lin Xian's eyes were red. He attacked recklessly. The heaven-devouring jar was thrown into the ground by him and crazily devoured the power of heaven and earth. The great dragon Sword Soul transformed into a true dragon and swept out. Under his reckless attack, the entire world exploded. Damn it, what is this thing? Why do I feel an extremely powerful aura? Run. The great elder went crazy, and Elder Een was also frightened. They led the remaining people and fled. They knew that, with this weapon, it would be difficult for them to kill the other party. The great elder roared. Go back quickly and ask at least 5 peak great sages to come. Although the other party was strong and had the protection of an extreme Tao, he didn't have much strength left. At present, he could only protect himself. If they sent 5 peak great sages, they would be enough to suppress the other party. At that time, everything the other party had would be theirs. In an instant, the great elder fled with dozens of people. Elder Yin's side was in an even worse state. She only managed to escape with a dozen people with serious injuries. As for the rest, tens of thousands of people died here, turning this place into a hell of Azura. A sea of blood surged into the sky. Soul Cliff roared, Father! At this moment, Soul Sage Monarch was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Lin Xian's face was pale, and countless cracks appeared on his body. He looked unusually ferocious. The others were all injured. This battle was a narrow escape for them. Lin Xian formed hand seals and used the longevity indestructible technique. A sword armor formed, enveloping everyone like a mountain. It provided a powerful vitality. Then he looked at Soul Sage Monarch. Chapter 5052. Han Xingjun's aura was very weak. He said, I'm afraid I can't make it. Lin Gongzi, please help Ye or in the future. Lin Xian shook his head and said, No, don't worry, you won't die. His eyes flickered as he took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb from the Sword World's 4-Spirit Valley. With a wave of his hand, he appeared in the void and swallowed it. Your injuries should be much better. Han Shengjun glanced at it and shook his head. No need. Lin Gongzi will have to trouble you. I know my own injuries very well. You also walked over. He said, Lin Gongzi, we have already swallowed a lot of heavenly treasures for Han Xingjun, They were all made of 10,000-year-old spirit herbs, or even 20 to 30,000-year-old spirit herbs. But it was useless. Her meaning was very clear. The 10,000-year-old spirit herb that Lin Xian took out would definitely not have any effect. However, Lin Xian laughed. How would you know if you don't try? Hanya, give it to your father. Hanya took it and said, Father, take it. It was Lin Gongzi's kind intentions. Han Xingjun swallowed the 10,000-year-old spirit herb, but he didn't have any hope. But when he swallowed it, he was stunned. What was going on? He was dumbfounded because he felt a powerful life force enveloping his body. Was this really a 10,000-year-old spirit herb? He looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. Lin Xian nodded. That's right, 10,000-year-old spirit herb. Father, how do you feel? Hanya, you, and the others also walked over and asked with concern. Han Shengjun said, What a strong medicinal power. I can feel my injuries quickly recovering. Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for saving my life. Yu Tingho was also stunned. What? A 10,000-year-old spirit herb cured Han Xingjun? This was too unbelievable. How could he know that Lin Xian took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb? It was a 10,000-year-old spirit herb that grew in the Sword World. The Sword World was formed by the power of many worlds. In addition, the world itself was incomparably miraculous, so the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs that grew here. It was comparable to the 50,000-year-old spirit herbs outside, coupled with the fact that he had swallowed a large number of pills. This set of pills was comparable to a 50,000-year-old spiritual herb. Thus, the Soul Sage Monarch's condition immediately improved. However, if he wanted to fully recover, he would need to recuperate properly. Lin Xian smiled. Senior, you are too polite. It was you who brought people to save me from danger. I should be thanking you. Lin Xian was very grateful for the man's actions. There were many people who would add flowers to a brocade, but the real help was to provide timely help. Moon and the others were stunned. This Lin Gongzi in front of them had shocked them to the core. Previously, when they were on a mission with Lin Xian, they had thought that Lin Xian was a coward who was afraid of running away. But now, it seemed that this was not the case at all. Lin Xian had displayed his formidable strength and was able to take out such a miraculous elixir with just a raise of his hand. The other party was like a cloud of fog that made them unable to see clearly. This young man in front of them probably had more trump cards than their holy army. The Soul Sage Monarch's complexion recovered a little. He asked, What are you going to do next? It won't be long before they come for you. We have to leave quickly. Lin Xian nodded, and the group flew into the distance. But not long after, an extremely terrifying aura appeared between heaven and earth. The 5 pinnacle great sages of the undead race had joined forces. They stood above the 9 heavens. At this moment, the people of the underworld were alarmed. Heavens, what happened? The undead race had sent out 5 pinnacle great sages. It was said that they wanted to kill Lin Wudi. Countless shocked voices rang out. Elder Een and the others were also secretly observing. They believed that the other party was definitely dead this time. Not good. The Soul Sage Monarch was in despair. Moon Soulcliff and the others were also pale and trembling. They couldn't withstand such a lineup, let alone 5 pinnacle great sages. Even a single pinnacle great sage was enough to wipe them all out. Given the current situation, there was no doubt that they would die. Are we going to fight? Lin Xian probed the power of the sword world and then took a deep breath. With his trump cards, whether it was the heaven-devouring jar or the great dragon sword spirit, it was impossible to defeat the other party if he went all out. But if he wanted to escape, it shouldn't be a problem. In that case, let's fight. Lin Xian took a step forward, erupting with an extremely sharp light. Facing the 5 pinnacle great sages, he was still fearless. Undead race, I will remember you. When I return in the future, I will definitely destroy the 4 spirits race. You think you have a future? Ridiculous. The 5 pinnacle great sages in the sky snorted. They looked down as if gods were looking at ants. Today, none of you will be able to leave. Once the 5 pinnacle great sages attacked, they would definitely not let them live. Attack! The 5 pinnacle great sages were like 5 gods. Their aura swept across the 9 heavens. At this moment, heaven and earth shattered. The sole sage monarch and the others couldn't resist at all. They could only retreat and vomit blood. An endless black vortex appeared beside Lin Xian. He roared angrily and was about to activate the power of this world and take out his strongest trump card. However, at this moment, there was a giant hand in the sky, shrouding down. It directly enveloped the 5 pinnacle great sages. Who is it? The 5 pinnacle great sages roared angrily. Their fists soared, and endless divine light pierced through the 9 heavens. He fought against the hand of the heavens. A loud voice rang out. Everyone retreated. Lin Xian also frowned. Was there a change? He didn't act rashly. Instead, he retreated to a distance to watch the battle. Who dares to interfere in our business? The undead race roared crazily. The battle just now had shocked them. At this moment, another figure appeared in all directions. There were 10 figures standing above the 9 heavens. Each of their aura was no weaker than the 5 pinnacle great sages. Those who were watching the battle from afar exclaimed, "These were the 10 Yama kings." Oh heavens, they actually appeared as well. Were they also here to capture Lin Wudi? Countless exclamations rang out. Lin Wudi alone was enough to make the entire Earth prison go crazy. Whether it was the pinnacle great sages or the 10 Yama kings, they were all the top figures in Earth prison. The members of the dead spirit clan furrowed their brows tightly. 10 Yama kings, what do you mean? Are you going to help this kid? King Qingguang said coldly. Someone asked us to protect young Master Lin's safety. That's right. Emperor Songdi also nodded. The other 10 Yama kings stood out one after another, claiming to protect Lin Xian. This caused everyone in the underworld to be stunned. Heavens, what's going on? Even Lin Xian was stunned. What's going on? The 10 Yama kings had sent countless assassins to assassinate him, but now the leaders of the 10 Yama kings wanted to protect him. They didn't even hesitate to become enemies with the undead race. Damn it, why? The undead race's experts roared crazily. They were all crazy. Although they were strong, they couldn't start a war with the 10 Yama kings. Chapter 5053. Han Xingjun and the others were stunned. Lin Xian was so influential that he could get the 10 kings of hell to come out together? They looked at each other, feeling incredulous. Lin Xian was also stunned. Suddenly his heart skipped a beat. Could it be old Xia? He had come to the underworld with Xia Jiao. Later on, Xia Jiao had left after recovering some vitality. Now that such a scene had happened, Lin Xian thought about it. It must have something to do with Xia Jiao. In front, a peak great saint of the undead spirit race gritted his teeth and asked, "I want to know who could get all of you to come out together?" Even if he died, he wanted to know the reason. King Qingguang said coldly, "It was a senior, an existence that you can't afford to offend." The pupils of the undead spirit race's experts shrank. They knew that it was impossible to kill Lin Xian today. It seemed like they could only find another opportunity in the future. He snorted and waved his hand. "Let's go." The 5 great saints turned and left. The experts of the undead spirit race retreated. Those who were watching the battle from afar were stunned. They didn't expect that a certain death situation would be resolved once again. The 10 kings of hell looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian cupped his fists and thanked the seniors for helping. King Qingguang smiled. "Young man, you don't have to thank us. We were entrusted by others. Goodbye." The figures of the 10 kings of hell slowly disappeared between heaven and earth. "Lin Gongzi, you have such an identity? Why didn't you say so earlier?" Hanya and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Yu, on the other hand, grumbled. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. To be honest, I didn't know that such a situation would happen. All right. Seeing the puzzled look in their eyes, Lin Xian waved his hand and brought them away. When they arrived at a safe place, he asked, Next, I'm going to leave the underworld. The world is vast, and I'm not afraid of the undead spirit race. Besides, I'm not from the underworld. Speaking of this, he looked at Han Xingjun and the others. But what about you? You're from the underworld. The undead spirit race won't let you go. Besides, the Killing Sage Hall will probably make a move on you too. The Soul Sage Lord took in a deep breath and looked at the surrounding killer saints. He said that he had implicated them. Sage, please don't say that. You usually take care of us like this. At the crucial moment, we naturally have to follow the sage. You also said, Sage, what do you think we should do? We follow the sage. Soul Sage Lord stood up, looked into the starry sky and sighed. Although the underworld was terrifying, it was still only a galaxy in the universe. Aside from the underworld, I also want to experience the vastness of the universe. After that, he looked at Lin Xian and said, I'm willing to follow young master to the ancient primeval city. Lin Xian was equally shocked. Although the Soul Sage Lord and the others weren't at the pinnacle of the great sage realm, they weren't weak either. Moreover, these people were all assassins and had all kinds of assassination methods. If he could use it, it would be an extremely terrifying force. His divine union needed this kind of power. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as he said solemnly, If Senior wishes to follow me, I will not let you down. Good. From today onwards, we will respect young master. The Soul Sage Lord said solemnly. You and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. Respect Lin Wuti? They didn't dare to believe it. Although Lin Wuti was strong now, he couldn't beat a sage. However, the Soul Sage Lord had his own thoughts. His current strength was indeed stronger than Lin Xian's, but so what? He was a sage, while Lin Xian was only a sage ruler. How many realms were there between the two of them? If Lin Xian became a great sage, his strength would probably surpass the Soul Sage Lord's. Therefore, following a young great emperor like Lin Xian wouldn't be at a disadvantage. On the contrary, he would have supreme glory in the future. All right, there's no time to lose. Let's go. Lin Xian took out the black earth. With a wave of his hand, he led everyone onto the spirit ship. Then he slowly left. The news about the 5 pinnacle great sages, Lin Wuti, and the 10 kings of hell spread quickly. In an instant, the news spread throughout the entire infernal realm. Countless people were shocked. Unexpectedly, the 5 pinnacle great sages couldn't do anything to Lin Wuti. In the end, the 10 kings of hell had to give him face. It was unbelievable. At the same time, a legend began to spread in the underworld. It was about the younger generation. Previously, the number one of the younger generation had been changing places. It was either the Dead Souls Abyss or 2 other people. But now it was no longer these people. Instead, it was replaced by a new name. It was Lin Wuti. Lin Xian's previous battle results directly pushed him to the top. Countless people looked at the list in shock. Lin Wuti? This was an existence that they would look up to in their lifetime. Even the 2nd and 3rd place could only admit their inferiority. At the same time, another piece of news came. It was about the most dangerous people in the underworld that they could not afford to offend. Apart from those terrifying and famous sect masters and patriarchs, another young name appeared on the list. That was Lin Wuti. Provoking him was equivalent to offending the 10 kings of hell. Who dared to provoke such an existence? When the Dead Souls race heard the news, they were shocked. There was even a trace of despair in their eyes. It would be harder for them to take revenge in the future. A pinnacle great saint gritted his teeth and said, Yuan Heir had a fiancée when he was alive. Go and pass the news to her. The people of Assassin Divine Palace were also shocked. especially the deputy palace master. His face was extremely gloomy. At this moment, he hated Elder Een to the core. The things that Elder Een had told him previously made him feel that Lin Xian was dispensable. He could even kill him easily. But now, the strength and value that Lin Xian had displayed were too great. But they had become enemies with him. Even the soul sage, the entire soul-killing sage, had left and disappeared. This was a huge loss to the assassin divine palace. But they could not be angry. They could only sulk. Elder Een and the rest felt their scalps go numb. They did not dare to return for a short period of time. They could only wait outside. The deputy palace master's anger had subsided. When the blood fury saint heard about this, he was also stunned. Lin Xian had such an identity and background. Linglong Shui looked at her father and sighed. From the looks of it, his father seemed to have missed out on a great opportunity. An opportunity to follow the young great emperor had been missed just like that. News and legends about Lin Wuyi spread throughout the entire underworld. Until many years later, Lin Xian was still a legend. Holy Abyss Ancient City. The 3 great orthodoxies would have new geniuses enter every year. The new generation would replace the old. Now, in the past 10 years, some top geniuses had risen. Their cultivation was not strong, but their strength was frightening. Some had super strong bloodlines. Some had great opportunities and obtained heaven-defying weapons. There were also people who could use terrifying lost techniques. In short, these people stood out and defeated some of the older geniuses. Dao sect. At this moment, the situation had changed greatly. The Dragon Palace, which had been silent back then, shone brightly once again. They displayed the power of an overlord, sweeping in all directions, especially the divine union. Chapter 5054. Previously, the Dragon Palace had been suppressed by Lin Xian and the divine union, especially during the Grand Meet. They were so suppressed that they could not even lift their heads. Later on, the Dragon Prince was poisoned by the Great Tao, and the situation was very dangerous. The Dragon Palace had been in despair for a time, and their morale was at its lowest. However, the situation had changed. The Dragon Prince had obtained the sacred tree of life, and his injuries had healed. His cultivation had even improved by a level. Now he was almost at the top of the Holy Gulf Tower. It was said that the people in the nest of 10,000 dragons were preparing to crown the Dragon Prince. Once they succeeded, the Dragon Prince would be the second top genius to be crowned king. At that time, the other party would not be weaker than Kunpingzi. An Emperor Road battle might even be brought forward. The Dragon Prince's strength made the Dragon Palace dazzle again. Over the past decade, the geniuses had joined the Dragon Palace, wanting to follow the Dragon Prince. Today was another day for the 3 great orthodoxies to recruit geniuses. The entire wholly distant ancient city was very lively, and countless young geniuses had entered. The 3 great orthodoxies had also sent people to recruit them. On the heaven sect side, a beautiful woman in white stood there, attracting countless gazes. "Young master, I see that you are outstanding and have an extraordinary expression. Why don't you join the heaven sex test?" The woman in white looked over and saw a figure in the crowd. He walked over with a smile on his face. The surrounding people were stunned, and for a moment, many people said with red faces, "I'm willing to join the heaven sex test." "Very good." The woman in white smiled, and then stared at the figure in front of her. "What about you?" The man in front of her looked young and handsome, and he was dressed in a black robe. He did not have a terrifying aura, but his eyes were very determined. Based on the woman in white's experience, he was definitely an expert. Lin Xian looked ahead, narrowed his eyes, and sighed. Oh, it was time for the 3 great orthodoxies to recruit geniuses again. It really made people sigh. He had been away for more than 10 years, and he wondered how those people were doing. "Hey, our senior sister is talking to you." Those from the heaven sect were unhappy. Lin Xian was surprised. He looked at these people and said, "You don't know me?" A young man asked, "Who are you?" "Are you famous? Why should we know you?" Even the woman in white was curious. Lin Xian sighed. From the looks of it, these people must have joined after he left for more than 10 years. He had probably only heard of Lin Wudi and Mad God, but had never seen them in person. That was probably why she didn't recognize him. Thinking of this, he said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, but I want to return to the Dao sect." Dao sect? Hearing this, the smile on the woman's face disappeared. Those from the Sky sect also frowned and walked away. Said someone coldly, "Humph, another naive guy. Did he really think that the Dragon Prince could be crowned king?" This guy definitely wanted to follow the Dragon Prince, but it was too late. Even if the Dragon Prince was crowned king, so what? Our Kun Pengzi in the sky had already succeeded more than 10 years ago. Now his strength was even more unfathomable, far beyond what the Dragon Prince could compare with. These people from heaven were very angry. Because of the Dragon Prince, all the geniuses who had participated in the test in recent years had gone to the True Path sect. The number of geniuses recruited by Heaven Central was much less than before. That was why they had come out this time to rope in those young geniuses. But by the looks of it, the results didn't seem to be good. Lin Xian also heard the discussions of these people and narrowed his eyes. He followed the Dragon Prince? What a joke. But he didn't say much. Just wait and see. There was bound to be a battle between him and the Dragon Prince. Leaving this place, Lin Xian walked towards the Dao sect. The Dao sect was indeed crowded with countless geniuses waiting there. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. When Lin Xian arrived, some people said, "Brother, line up behind. You're late. You have to stand behind." Voices rang out one after another. Some people even said, "Brother, how should I address you?" "Hey, what are you talking to this guy about? Is this guy famous?" His aura didn't seem that strong. Some people looked at him in disdain. Lin Xian, on the other hand, walked straight ahead. Under the angry gazes of countless people, he came to the front and continued to walk forward. Hold it. The guards in front blocked the path, and the people behind sneered. Is this kid stupid? Who does he think he is? Wants to go in directly. That's right. The test hasn't started yet. He'll definitely be beaten back. These people looked like they were watching a show. Lin Xian was speechless. Why didn't he come back for so many years? Even these people don't recognize him anymore. He waved his hand and took out a token. "I'm from the Dao sect." Everyone was stunned, and the smiles on the faces of the people who were sneering at them also disappeared. The two guards in front quickly bowed after seeing it. "Greetings, senior brother. Please forgive us, senior brother. We just joined the Dao sect recently." They recognized that Lin Xian's token was the one from more than 10 years ago. This was obviously their senior brother. Lin Xian nodded. "Don't worry." Then he walked in. The people behind gasped. "Damn, this guy is from the Dao sect. This is our future senior brother. I was almost fooled by him. Luckily, I didn't offend him. Otherwise, I would be dead." These people were scared. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a terrifying identity, even though he didn't have any aura. The eyes of the young girls turned red. "He's so handsome. Aya, why didn't I chat with him just now? Maybe he can take me in." "I heard that the Dragon Palace is holding a martial arts grand competition. I wonder if the test will end early after we enter. I don't want to miss such a grand competition." Some people felt it was a pity. When they wanted to look for Lin Xian, they found that Lin Xian had already entered the Dao sect. After entering, Lin Xian found that it was also very lively inside. After asking around, he found out that the Dragon Palace was holding a martial arts grand competition. They invited all the geniuses in the ancient city to discuss the Dao. It seems like they want to crown the Dragon Prince and build momentum in advance. They can't wait anymore. Looks like I have to speed up. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He found a secluded place. He formed a seal with his palm. Demon's shadow. He used a great magic to form an avatar. The avatar was dressed in a black robe and surrounded by black qi. Lin Xian gave the token to the other party. His real body turned into a flash of light and disappeared. He wanted to go to the Holy Gulf Tower. With his current strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to reach the peak of the Holy Gulf Tower. Coronation? He wanted to let everyone know that the Emperor's son could do it. He could do it too. He could even do it better. Lin Xian's avatar walked toward the Dragon Palace. He wanted to see how magical the Dragon Palace's martial arts grand competition was. Chapter 5055. The Dragon Palace was unusually lively. Countless geniuses had already arrived. Some of them were outstanding, while others had terrifying auras. Some gathered together to chat. Some even exploded with terrifying killing intent the moment they saw each other. Obviously, they had been enemies before. However, they didn't attack directly. After all, they had come to the Dragon Palace and had to respect the Dragon Clan. So, both sides snorted and retreated to the side. Among the many geniuses, there were a few who were extremely dazzling. One of them strode over. He was majestic and powerful, and his eyes shone with terrifying light. Countless people looked over. This person was none other than Long Ao. As the second genius of the Dragon Palace, his strength and talent were also terrifying. He was second only to the Dragon Prince. At this moment, Long Ao exuded the aura of a dragon god. Beside him was a beautiful woman, Lan Ziyu. Her aura had also undergone an earth-shattering change. Because she had followed Long Ao, she was qualified to enter the core area and receive guidance from the Path Sect elders. So, she was now considered a top expert of the Dragon Palace. The Blue Clan had also arrived. They looked at Lan Ziyu and nodded in satisfaction. Because of Lan Ziyu, they had completely allied with the Dragon Palace. Even their status and identity had changed. All of this was because of Lan Ziyu. They had already appointed Lan Ziyu as the young master of the Blue Clan. He would take over the Blue Clan in the future. This time, not only the Path Sect and the other primeval clans, but also the Sky Sect and the Earth Sect. On the Sky Sect side, 5 people walked over. They were 5 brothers, and their auras were terrifying. Each of them carried a long sword on their back. The biting cold sword intent made everyone's scalp tingle. Swordsmen of the Sky Sect? These 5 were extremely famous top swordsmen. Each of them had strong individual combat strength. When the 5 of them worked together, they could form a terrifying, killing sword formation. Challenging those of a higher level was a piece of cake. The Earth Sect's people had also arrived. For example, the Overlord and others had also arrived. It could be said that this gathering was a gathering of people. Lord Wudao of the Yi clan had arrived. A voice came from outside. Countless people turned to look. Was Yi Wudao here? He was also a top genius. His status was no less than Long Ao's. So, countless people paid special attention. Long Ao also personally went out to welcome him. Leaf Dao Denier's aura was even more terrifying than before, making him seem like a young grand emperor. His every move made the others feel fearful. Even Long Ao squinted his eyes. This guy definitely cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. He wondered what level he had reached in his cultivation. Thinking of this, he felt a burst of envy. Because of the Dragon Prince, no matter how talented he was, it was impossible for him to cultivate the complete ancient scripture. He could only cultivate 1 or 2 of the great emperor's divine abilities. But Leaf Dao Denier was different. The Leaf clan had no imperial son, and as a top genius he was qualified to cultivate the ancient scripture of the earth. This kind of treatment indeed made Long Ao's eyes red with envy. Young Master Yi, a rare guest. Long Ao laughed. Leaf Dao Denier nodded and walked in. Of course, he hadn't come alone, but rather had brought a few people with him. When he saw these people, Long Ao's face became a little gloomy. This was because the people following Yi Wudao were from the Divine Union. Crimson Dragon, Toad by Susu, Fu Hongya. These people had followed Lin Xian back to the Bronze Immortal Hall. Later, Lin Xian had stayed in the underworld for a long time, and these people had discussed returning together. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? Toad snorted coldly. The others were also in an uproar. The people of the Divine Union actually dared to come out. I think they are here to die. Someone sneered. Long Ao was instantly enraged. He stared at these people and said coldly, "Men, take them down!" The surrounding experts of the Dragon Palace stood up one after another, and a terrifying aura swept across the 9 heavens. The Crimson Dragon roared. He had never been afraid of anyone. He also roared, and dragon blood appeared. Yi Wudao said with his hands behind his back, "Is this how the Dragon Palace treats its guests? This is a martial arts conference. You invited all the geniuses in the world, right? Why can't they come? The tolerance of the Dragon Palace is too small." When these words came out, countless people were in an uproar. Yi Wudao was indeed on the side of the Divine Union. Long Ao's face was also cold. "Young Master Yi, this is the Dragon Palace, not your Yi family's territory." Yi Wudao's eyes shone brightly. "Are you warning me? Then let's see if you are qualified to warn me." Yi Wudao took a step forward, and the power in his body exploded. At this moment, everyone felt like their bodies were about to split open. Long Ao's face also changed. Yi Wudao had not shown any aura before, but once he used this power, it made his scalp go numb. However, he was also a top expert with the ancient body. How could he be afraid of Yi Wudao? Moreover, his cultivation had improved over the years, and he had even cultivated the mystique of the great emperor. Naturally, he was not afraid of Yi Wudao. "Then let me experience young master Ye's ultimate skill." Long Ao exuded a terrifying killing intent. The others were also shocked. Was the battle going to be brought forward? "Stop!" Long Ao let them in. In the distance, an old man walked out. It was an elder of the 1,000 Dragon Court. This gathering was a gathering for them to build momentum for the Dragon Prince. Bringing forward the battle before it even started would have a bad impact on them. Therefore, they stopped the battle directly. "Yes, old John, I understand." Long Ao nodded. He also knew the importance of this gathering, so he did not dare to be presumptuous. He snorted coldly. "You guys can go in. Yi Wudao, the battle between us is only temporary. There will be a battle sooner or later." Yi Wudao walked past him and said indifferently, "My target is not you, but your Dragon Prince." The crowd was in an uproar. Indeed, martial artists also wanted to go down the path of the great emperor. However, Long Ao's face turned ugly. Was Yi Wudao looking down on him? Damn it! He would not let Yi Wudao go if he had the chance. Yi Wudao and the others were invited in and sat down. The others also took their seats. The elder of the 1,000 Dragon Court walked out and said with a smile, "Thank you all for coming to the gathering of the dragon race. Let me give you a toast." The elder took out a spirit wine and drank it in one gulp. Since the elder was being polite, the other geniuses did not dare to be careless and drank. Elder Long of the 1,000 Dragon Court smiled. This gathering was to tell everyone that the Dragon Prince will be crowned soon. The Dragon Prince of our Dragon Clan will be crowned king soon. I hope everyone won't miss such a grand occasion. Countless people were surprised. Although they had heard the news before, it was still shocking to hear it from the elder of the dragon race. Had the Dragon Prince reached the pinnacle? It was faster than they had imagined. Those from the Sky Sect frowned. It seemed that Kunping Zi was going to be challenged again. Chapter 5056. At this moment, someone sighed. It seemed that the Dragon Prince would rule the world in the future. As soon as that was said, many people nodded. It was indeed true. Of course, There were also people who refuted that it was too early. The Dragon Prince was powerful, but was Kunpingzi weak? He had been crowned king earlier than the Dragon Prince. Countless people nodded. It seemed that the two princes would have a competition in the future. Lin Xian naturally came too. He sat down in the crowd. At this moment he was also surprised. No wonder the Dragon Clan had been arrogant recently. He wondered what realm the Dragon Prince had reached. Had he broken through to become a supreme saint? He was now a saint king, so were Yi Wu Dao and the others. Even Kunpingzi and the Dragon Prince were only at the peak of the saint king realm. They had not become supreme saints. Once he became a great sage, his strength would undergo an earth-shaking change. Whoever broke through first would be able to surpass others in advance. However, the Dragon Prince and Kunpingzi's bloodline was too strong. The stronger the bloodline, the harder it was to break through. So, they had not broken through yet. Yi Wu Dao and Long Ao also had the ancient, desolate body. Lin Xian had the 9-yang divine body and the dragon's sword soul. It was not easy for him to break through. However, although they were all saint kings, their strength was stronger than ordinary intermediate supreme saints. They were geniuses who could fight above their level effortlessly. At this moment, a swordsman in the sky said, everyone was talking about the Dragon Prince, but where was he? Why didn't he come out? Could it be that he looked down on people like us? Yes, that's right. The people of the Dragon Clan were too rude. They wanted to cheer for the Dragon Prince, but the Dragon Prince did not come out himself. A few cold snorts were heard, shocking the surrounding people. They looked carefully and found that the people who spoke were from the Heavenly Sect. Obviously, the Heavenly Sect wanted to suppress the Dragon Palace. Long Ao and the others frowned. Even the elders of the Dragon Palace stopped smiling. However, at this moment, he looked up at the sky and sneered. Everyone, the Dragon Prince you want to see is here. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people looked up at the sky. The sky was extremely calm, but in the next moment, the wind and cloud surged. Countless dragon shadows flew over from afar, spanning tens of thousands of miles. On top of those dragon shadows, there was a figure standing tall and straight, incomparably terrifying. He was like a dragon god, descending upon the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone could feel the suppression of their bloodlines, causing their blood to freeze. His soul was about to split open. It was the Dragon Prince. He really came. Oh my God, the bloodline of the monarch, the aura of the supreme Tao. The Dragon Prince's cultivation of the monarch's ancient scripture has improved again. Most likely, he wasn't too far away from achieving a breakthrough to become a great sage. Exclamations were heard one after another. People like the Tyrant and the Heaven Sect swordsmen clenched their fists. Leaf Daudenier took a deep breath. Obviously, he was feeling a lot of pressure. Long Ao's expression was also solemn. He originally thought that his years of cultivation would be able to reduce the gap between them, but now it seemed that the gap between them had widened again. Was the Dragon Prince someone he had to look up to all his life? His heart was filled with despair. At this time, a swordsman from the sky, Sect, walked out and said, as expected of the legendary Emperor's son, Dragon Prince, I would like to experience the Emperor's ultimate technique. As he spoke, he swung his sword. With a clang, the long sword cut through the void like lightning. This sword was like a peerless divine sword that slashed into the 9 heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Was he going to attack the Dragon Prince? It was too unbelievable. The people from the 1,000 Dragon dynasty sneered. Facing this peerless sword, the Dragon Prince lowered his head and looked. His eyes burst out with a bright light, and his gaze turned into a sharp blade light that swept over. With a clang, the sword was split in half. Not only that, the sword saint who attacked also vomited blood and was sent flying. The armor on his body was shattered, and blood burst out, dyeing the 9 heavens red. Everyone looked at this scene with their mouths agape. He was too strong. The swordsman who attacked was a top powerhouse among the younger generation of the Sky Sect. His strength was unparalleled, and there were not many people present who could contend against him. But now they couldn't even block a single gaze from the Dragon Prince. Was this the difference between them and the Emperor's son? Thinking of this, they all felt despair. It was really sad to be in the same era as such a person. The Dragon Prince looked down and asked calmly, "Are you qualified to fight me?" Damn it. The injured swordsman's face turned pale. Was he being ignored? This was a feeling that he had never felt before. But that gaze just now was too terrifying, and it easily pierced through his body. Even if he attacked with all his strength, he wouldn't be a match for him. The other four walked over and asked, "Are you okay?" The 5 of them formed a sword formation together, but they probably couldn't fight against him. He was too strong and invincible. That was what everyone was thinking. The people from the Dragon Palace walked out and said, "Don't even think about fighting against our prince. The Dragon Prince is famous. His opponents are only the other emperors. For example, Kuan Pingzi, the others are no match for him. Not to mention the Dragon Prince. You can't even defeat our Dragon Prince. Our Dragon Prince has the ancient, desolate body, and his strength is unparalleled. He can defeat all of you with one attack." The Dragon Prince they were talking about was naturally Long Ao. Indeed, not to mention the Dragon Prince, even Long Ao, there were not many people who could contend against him. That was the ancient, desolate body, a body that was as famous as Yi Wu Dao and the others. It seemed that the rise of the Dragon Palace was unstoppable. The future would definitely be the Dragon clans. Voices sounded one after another. It seemed that they had to make friends with the Dragon clan in advance to plan for the future. The people from the Dragon Palace laughed proudly. This feeling was really good. The Dragon Prince was Long Ao, and he seemed to have been trampled under the feet of others. "What are you proud of?" A sneer sounded, and it spread clearly in all directions. The surrounding people were stunned, and they all gasped. "Who is it? How dare you say such words?" The people from the Dragon Palace roared. "Who is it? Get out. How dare you challenge our Dragon Palace? Do you want to die?" The voice sounded again. "What am I wrong? Has he never been defeated before?" "I remember that he was defeated by others in the Dao sect sacred assembly. At that time, countless pairs of eyes saw it. Are you trying to hide the truth? Ridiculous. Nonsense. Get out." The people from the Dragon Palace began to search frantically. At this time, the Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. "You are the ones who are laughing. He was indeed defeated by Lin Xian. That's right, I remember that his clone was killed by Lin Xian as soon as he appeared. Later on, his real body appeared, but he was slapped to the ground by Lin Xian. He is no match for our divine union. What is there to be arrogant about in the Dragon Palace?" Chapter 5057. Damn Aunt, what did you say? The people from Dragon Palace roared. Long Ao's face darkened. He had indeed been defeated by Lin Xian. However, no one dared to mention this matter. Now, someone had brought it up again, especially when so many geniuses were gathered together. That was a slap to his face. He stood up and said coldly, "2 ants come over. I'll slap you to death." "Haha." Toad sneered. "How impressive. Why don't you slap Lin Xian instead? He would probably be slapped to death by Lin Xian." Bai Susu snorted. "You were defeated by Lin Xian. Shouldn't you challenge him? What's the point of challenging us?" The others were also discussing animatedly. Yes, when discussing the geniuses of the world, besides the Dragon Prince, Kuan Pingzi, Yi Wu Dao, and Long Ao, they seemed to have forgotten about one person. That was Lin Xian. He was called Invincible Lin. His strength and methods were beyond their imagination. Long Ao had been defeated by him back then. He should be a super expert below the Emperor's level. Lin Xian. Hearing this name, Long Ao gritted his teeth. The people from Dragon Palace were also filled with killing intent. It was this person who had suppressed their Dragon Palace back then. Lan Zi stood up and said coldly, "What Lin Xian?" He was already gone. There had been no news of him for more than 10 years. He had already fallen outside. The Blue Tribe's elder nodded in agreement. That's right. A dead genius was nothing. Even if he was once dazzling, he had no future. The people from Dragon Palace sneered. Where is this Lin Xian you're talking about? Does he dare to come out? If he does, I'll slap him to death. That's right. Long Ao snorted. Lin Xian, that coward, hasn't dared to come out for more than 10 years. He must know that I've become stronger, so he doesn't dare to come out. It was an accident that I lost to him back then. I wasn't in my best condition back then. Otherwise, how could I have lost? Now that I'm at my peak, if he dares to come out, I'll destroy him in 3 moves. Long Ao displayed great confidence. The members of the Divine Union gritted their teeth. Even the Crimson Dragon sighed. After so many years, they really didn't have any news about Lin Xian. They were even worried that something might have happened to Lin Xian. However, before leaving, the Crimson Dragon had specifically asked for a soul aura from Lin Xian and made it into a soul card. At this moment, there was nothing wrong with the soul plate, which let them know that Lin Xian's life was not in danger. It was just that he was delayed by something outside. However, the others didn't think so. They guessed that Lin Xian might have fallen. What a pity. Brother Lin and I are about the same level of cultivation base. If you want to fight, I'm more than happy to oblige. If you can beat me, that means you can beat him. Do you dare? As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding people were shocked. Was Leaf Dowdenier going to stand up for Lin Xian? It was too unbelievable. Long Ao's face also darkened. Do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. He had to fight today to show his powerful strength. Otherwise, these people would really think that he was a pushover. Long Ao took a step forward. The aura of the dragon on his body roared and the whole world shook. The people of the Dragon Palace were very confident. Long Ao had failed before, but so what? He was now a different person from more than a decade ago. Now he had no opponents under the Emperor's sun. Even if the opponent was Leaf Dowdenier, they were still fearless. Today was a grand event specially arranged by the Dragon Palace to build momentum for the Dragon Prince. Now that someone had challenged them, they had to be ruthlessly suppressed. They had to let them know who was in charge in this place. Everyone was excited. Could they see a fierce battle in advance? That was great. Leaf Dowdenier also stood up and was ready to fight. However, at this moment, a voice rang out. Was there a need to use the sacred body of the ancients to deal with such trash? I can do it. As he said that, a figure walked over. The surrounding people went crazy. God, who is this? How dare he say that Long Ao was trash? Long Ao was a top genius. If he was trash, then what were the others? Weren't they worse than trash? What an arrogant tone. Countless people turned their heads to look, wanting to see who was so arrogant. Even Leaf Dowdenier was stunned. He also turned his head to look. The Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and the others also turned their heads. In the next moment, they saw a man in a black robe, surrounded by demonic chi, walking over. Was it him? The Crimson Dragon and the others frowned. They thought that Lin Xian had returned. The others were also puzzled. Who was this person? Was he a top genius of the ancient city? Was he an expert of the 3 orthodoxies? It didn't seem like it. Who are you, kid? How dare you challenge me? Tell me your identity and origin. I'll see if you have the right to be arrogant here. Why waste time talking to him? Just kill him. A powerhouse of the Dragon Palace made his move. With a dagger in his hand, he instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. With a wave of his dagger, he split the void in half. The surrounding people exclaimed, "What a fast speed! What a ruthless killing method!" They saw the black-robed man's figure being split apart. The Dragon Palace expert sneered. What kind of expert is he? He can't even block one of my attacks. As soon as he finished speaking, he was stunned. He found that the split figure was slowly disappearing. Lin Xian appeared on the other side. You can't even keep up with my speed, and you dare to assassinate me? Is the Dragon Palace full of trash? What? Was that just an afterimage? Countless people were in an uproar. When did this guy dodge? They were really shocked. Some people's pupils shrank, while others exclaimed. This was an expert. The Dragon Palace expert's face was cold. Damn it, go to hell. He was about to wave his dagger again, but Lin Xian sneered. I only said a few words of truth, and the Dragon Palace wants to kill me? Then, if I were to defeat Long Ao, wouldn't all of your elders cover the sky and cover the earth to hunt me down? It seems that this battle is not necessary. Stop! Long Ao roared, and the Dragon Palace expert stopped. He gritted his teeth and returned unwillingly. Long Ao said coldly, My Dragon Palace is upright. Since when would we do such a despicable thing? Just attack. The elders of the dragon race will definitely not attack. I don't believe in a despicable person like you. Lin Xian looked at the elder of the 1,000 Dragon Dynasty. That elder's face was cold. Why would we care about the sparring of the younger generation? There are so many geniuses here. Are you going to question my Dragon Palace? Lin Xian smiled. Since the elder of the dragon race has spoken, I will naturally believe him. He looked forward and said, Long Ao, you are too pitiful. Kneel down and kowtow to me now, and I will spare you this time. Otherwise, if you are defeated by me again, I am afraid that your martial heart will be shattered. Chapter 5058. These words made everyone stunned. Could it be that this guy thought that Long Ao would lose? Although his speed was fast, a battle was not just about speed. And no matter how fast he was, could he be faster than Long Ao? He did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Cold laughter rang out. The surrounding people kept shaking their heads. Long Ao laughed. Ao also laughed. You don't have the right to ask me to admit defeat. Kid, do you think you can compete with me just because you're fast? Too naive. Are you naive? You'll know after we fight. Lin Xian stretched out a finger and shook it. Come on, don't waste my time. Stupid thing. Long Ao instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. My speed is also very fast. I'm practicing dragon steps. Can you block it? Long Ao slapped down, smashing the black robe into pieces. It's over. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile. The surrounding people also exclaimed. As expected of the strongest person under the emperor, he actually ended the battle with a slap. You're really ignorant. I've said it before. Is the Dragon Palace all trash like this? Everyone is so arrogant. You can't keep up with my speed. Lin Xian's voice rang out from the side. The others were stunned. They turned their heads and shouted in fear. He didn't die. He dodged again. Damn it, what kind of movement technique is that? Why didn't I notice it at all? How is this possible? The people of the Dragon Palace also looked as if they had seen a ghost. Even Long Ao frowned, and his expression became stiff. Previously, he said that he would kill the other party in one move. Now the other party was alive, and he did not notice it at all. This was already a ruthless slap to his face. How embarrassing. Long Ao was so angry that his entire body trembled. Lin Xian walked over and said indifferently, If you want to compete with me in speed, you can cultivate for another 100 years. Before his voice fell, Lin Xian had already arrived at Long Ao's side and slammed his palm over. How is that possible? Long Ao said fiercely. The other party's speed was too fast. It was so fast that he could not even react. Boom! Long Ao Yang Tian roared in anger. His fists danced, shattering the void, forming an endless black hole, blocking the attack. The next moment he roared at the sky like a dragon god. Kid, you've completely angered me. The others also cried out in surprise, displaying their true strength. Dragon, Tao Divine Fist. The black-robed man was unlucky. That's right, so what if he was fast? In the face of absolute power, everything was futile. Go to hell. Long Ao punched out, destroying heaven and earth. At this moment, the space around Lin Xian was completely shattered. The invisible force was like a cage, preventing all escape. Not good, the Crimson Dragon and the others were worried. They were now very sure that the black-robed man was Lin Xian. It was just that in these 10 years, Long Ao was indeed not the same as before. Could Lin Xian stop him? Boom! An even more terrifying power surged out, transforming into a black sun that advanced courageously. It directly collided with the dragon fist. The sound of heaven and earth shattering rang out. Long Ao was shaken to the point that he kept retreating. His arm was numb. What was going on? Was he pushed back? The others looked at this scene with their mouths agape, unable to believe it. The people from Dragon Palace also exclaimed. This was impossible. They felt as if they were dreaming. The cracks in the sky disappeared, and they saw the black-robed man in front of them slowly retracting his palm. Just now, it was the other party who pushed him back. Long Ao. Damn it, this guy is not only fast, but his strength is also so terrifying. How is this possible? What pill did you eat? How can your strength be so strong? Long Ao roared crazily. Lin Xian laughed heartily. Ignorant ant, you don't even know what power is. Forget it, you're too weak. You're not qualified to be my opponent. Is there anyone stronger in Dragon Palace? Lin Xian looked around. At this moment, everyone was shocked. They knew that the person in front of them was an expert. Previously, they were disdainful of the other party's arrogance. But now they knew that the other party had the capital to be arrogant. The Crimson Dragon and the others were excited. Lin Xian had returned, and his strength had become even stronger. Let's see if Dragon Palace still dares to be arrogant this time. Damn it, I haven't lost yet. I was careless just now. Long Ao roared crazily. It's just 2 moves. I'm only at a disadvantage. What right do you have to call me trash? I'll be serious next. 3 moves. Within 3 moves, I'll destroy your soul. Are you sure you want to destroy me in 3 moves? If you want to fight to the death, I'll accompany you to the end. Lin Xian's eyes shone with an extremely cold light. He was no longer the same person as before. Although it was just a clone, it was an emperor's ability. Even the clone had 70% of his strength. In addition to this clone, he could use all of Lin Xian's abilities. Other than a few powerful trump cards, he had none. Everything else could be used. Therefore, Long Ao was not his opponent at all. In front, the elder of the 1,000-dragon empire frowned. She felt that something was wrong. The black-robed man in front of her was very strange. The few techniques that he displayed, whether it was his movement technique or strength, were all ridiculously strong. It was very likely that he was a top-notch expert, so she was worried for Long Ao. He said, "Stop, we're just sparring." "Stop?" Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. You're probably afraid that he'll die, right?" He then looked at Long Ao and said, "Scram back. Your elders are afraid that you'll die, so they don't dare to let you fight." "What did you say?" Long Ao roared crazily. He was so angry that the other party was looking down on him again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "To be honest, although you're a genius, that's only to ordinary people. In my eyes, you're really not a genius. What? Dragon Prince, the second genius of the Dragon Palace. Everything is just an illusion. You'll always be trampled under the feet of the Dragon Prince, and you'll never be my opponent. Compared to the real young sovereign, you're too far away. Damn it, do you want to die?" Long Ao was really angry. He punched over again. However, he couldn't find any trace of Lin Xian. Lin Xian appeared and disappeared like a ghost. He used Shadowless Heaven's net to perfection, just like a god. "Who do you think you are? A dragon race expert? High and mighty? Do you think your bloodline is strong? Too naive. You're nothing in the dragon race. I'll let you know that your bloodline isn't the strongest outside of the Emperor's son. Ruzalong, come up and tell him what a real dragon race bloodline is." The Crimson Dragon walked out and roared. After more than 10 years, this dragon can finally make a move. "Come, dragon, let's fight. I'll personally trample you under my feet." The Crimson Dragon's eyes burst out with a bright light. Previously in the Divine Union, Lin Xian was incomparably dazzling, and he didn't have many opportunities to make a move. As a result, many people ignored him. However, Lin Xian knew that the Crimson Dragon's bloodline was extremely terrifying. Compared to this dragon prince, it wasn't weak at all. In fact, it was even stronger. Now, it was time for the Crimson Dragon to show its strength. Chapter 50-59. With just you, a little snake. Long Ao looked at the Crimson Dragon and sneered. "All right, this little psychological warfare has no effect on me. We will know who the snake is after the battle." The Crimson Dragon, with a flash, turned into lightning and struck forward. "And I will let you know how powerful I am." Long Ao roared and punched out. Dragon Path, Divine Fist. It was as if a giant dragon was sweeping between heaven and earth. The laws intertwined, and the void was like a painting being torn apart. The dark red divine dragon didn't even try to dodge. "Take my punch as well." He waved his dragon claws and punched out. The dragon blood martial move was extremely powerful. Clang! A deafening sound rang out, and everyone's blood boiled. In the next moment, they saw two fists and retreated. They were evenly matched. Countless people exclaimed. It was too unbelievable. That was Long Ao, known as the Dragon Prince, the son of the Dragon Sea Lord. The power of his bloodline was extremely powerful, and he had the ancient body. It could be said that other than the Dragon Prince, who among the younger generation of the Dragon clan could suppress him, even those who could contend against him were useless. But now, there was someone who could withstand it. Wasn't this guy the dragon by Lin Xian's side? I always thought that he didn't have any ability, but I didn't expect him to be so powerful. Damn it, we were all fooled. He didn't make a move before, but who would have thought that his bloodline power was so terrifying? That Lin Wudi was really terrifying. Were there such experts around him? Now, do you still have the qualifications to call me a snake? The Crimson Dragon sneered. A terrifying light bloomed on his body, and with a sweep of his tail, it swept away thousands of troops. It turned into a heavenly blade and slashed out. This attack was even more powerful than a sacred weapon, and the 9 heavens were split open. Damn it! Long Ao was furious. Did he underestimate his opponent again? He absolutely couldn't stand it. This time he would not lose again. The Dragon Path Divine Fist was used to the extreme, and it kept colliding with the Crimson Dragon's tail. Every strike made heaven and earth tremble. The surrounding people were shocked and quickly retreated. How many people would be able to withstand such a battle? The two of them exchanged 50 moves. The surrounding void kept on shattering as the terrifying dragon Qi shrouded everything. Countless rumbling sounds rang out as tens of thousands of dragon silhouettes circled the area. Your Dragon Dao Divine Fist is completely useless. Take my heaven, splitting 10 strikes. The Crimson Dragon roared and waved its claws. It attacked 10 times in a row, and the whole world was shattered. This was also one of the great techniques of the Dragon Clan. Long Ao was beaten back. Both of his arms were broken, and even his bones were exposed. Damn it! He raised his head and roared. He didn't expect that his Dragon Dao Divine Fist would be broken by his opponent. Dragon Traversal 9 rotations. He roared angrily, turned into a giant dragon, and kept rolling. Every time he rolled, his strength increased by a bit. The laws on his body worked together with the Dragon Clan's peerless mystique as he charged forward. This time, the heaven-splitting 10 strikes was utterly shattered. I will not be defeated. Die! I will let you know what the true ancient desolate body is. It charged over like a dragon god. It was too terrifying. This should be the great emperor's mystique. Countless people were shocked. The 9 revolutions of the dragon brought about incomparable power. Toad and the others were worried. Would Rizalong be okay? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Long Ao to also cultivate the great emperor's mystique. It was indeed powerful, but fortunately, it seemed that the other party hadn't cultivated it to perfection. Moreover, he knew that the Crimson Dragon's trump card was definitely not weak. Although it didn't have the great emperor's mystique, it had the bloodline inheritance. As expected, the dark red divine dragon floated in the air as its body continued to grow in size in the face of such a shocking attack. It turned into a divine dragon that was 100 feet long. The scales on its back bloomed with dragon blood and soared into the air, forming a dragon blade in the air. Slash! With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered. The dragon blade slashed down, turning into the only thing in the world. Not good. At this moment, the people of the dragon clan were terrified. This blade was really too terrifying, as if it could split them in half. Damn it, which dragon clan did he belong to? The elders of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty went crazy. Why didn't they know about such a powerful dragon clan genius before? Heaven and earth shattered. The front was shrouded in chaos, and they could only wait nervously. In the end, they saw a figure retreat. Long Ao was split in half and fled with a scream. He retreated, his hair disheveled, and roared crazily. "Damn, Aunt, you dare to hurt me?" Countless people gasped. Long Ao was actually injured, and he was even split in half. The people of the Dragon Palace also couldn't believe it. The Crimson Dragon walked out of the chaos with a dragon blade floating above his head. He sneered. "Don't you understand who's the ant now? You've lost." Lin Xian also walked out with a smile. "It was really a fierce battle, but unfortunately, you've lost again. Didn't you call yourself the #1 genius below the Imperial Prince? Weren't you invincible in the Dragon Clan? How many times have you lost now? More than 10 years ago, when you just came out, one of your clones was killed by someone else. Later, your true body was suppressed by someone else and you lost. More than 10 years later, you couldn't even block 2 of my moves. Now, you've lost to a powerhouse from the Dragon Clan, and he wasn't the Imperial Prince. You've lost too many times. What right does a person like you have to stand here? You're an ant, a piece of trash. You're destined to be trampled under others' feet for the rest of your life." Lin Xian said coldly. There was a strange aura in his voice. This was also the great emperor's ability, demonic voice. At this moment, when he used it, it began to affect Long Ao in the dark. Long Ao was so angry that his entire body trembled. He kept retreating, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared towards the sky as if he had gone mad. With a crack, there was a shattering sound between heaven and earth. Long Ao fell down. The elder of the 10,000 Dragons Dynasty roared crazily. "Damn it, you dare to break my Dao heart." He struck out with his palm. Lin Xian was already prepared. His figure flashed and instantly disappeared. Shadowless heavens, net this elder couldn't hit him at all. How despicable. Didn't you say that you wouldn't attack me? Everyone in the world was watching. Damn it. The people of the 10,000 Dragons Dynasty gritted their teeth. That elder said, "You broke his Dao heart. Can't I attack you?" Lin Xian laughed. What a joke. His every move was a fatal move. If he was hit, his soul would be destroyed. I only said 2 sentences. His Dao heart was destroyed. What does it have to do with me? That's because his Dao heart isn't firm enough. Otherwise, how could it be destroyed? A person who doesn't even have a firm Dao heart, what right does he have to walk the path of the great emperor? What right does he have to compete with the Imperial Prince? Lin Xian's words were incomparably sonorous. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. They didn't expect Long Ao to be defeated again. Moreover, It seemed that this time he was completely trampled under his feet and couldn't make a comeback. Not only that, this was a ruthless slap to the Dragon Palace's face. This gathering had completely changed. The Dragon Palace wanted to use this gathering to create momentum for the Dragon Prince. But now they had been ruthlessly slapped in the face and completely lost face. Chapter 5060. Long Ao's Dao heart had been destroyed, and he was no different from a cripple now. If he could not regain his confidence, his life would be over. For a top genius, this was worse than death. Damn it, who are you? Who are you? The elder of the Thousand Dragon Empire roared. In the sky, the Dragon Prince also cast his gaze down. He was surprised that this person could defeat Long Ao. Did he want to challenge the Dragon Palace? He was the real founder of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. This killing intent caused the surrounding geniuses to feel their scalps go numb. They knew that the Dragon Prince was angry. If the other party attacked, the black-robed man would not be able to withstand it. Who am I? Lin Xian smiled. Why? Does no one remember me? He slowly took off the cloak on his head, revealing his real face. Who is this person? Everyone looked over curiously. However, when they saw it, they were stunned as if they were struck by lightning. Lan Ziyu also opened her eyes wide in disbelief. In the next moment, she screamed in horror. Lin Xian, you are not dead. You are back? Some of the new geniuses were also shocked. Lin Xian, is he the Lin Wuti? Wasn't he a little too strong? Oh my God, it is really him. This was a legendary figure who had single-handedly established the divine union. Exclamations were heard one after another. At this moment, the whole place was in an uproar. It is him, it is really him. Bai Susu's eyes turned red. The Crimson Dragon and Toad smiled. As for Leaf Dao Denier, a smile broke out on his face. He had guessed that it was Lin Xian, and now it was confirmed. Yes, it is me. Lin Xian looked around and said loudly, I'm back. Damn it, it is this guy. The people of the Dragon Palace gritted their teeth, and the Blue Tribe looked even worse. They thought that Lin Xian had not appeared for more than 10 years and had fallen. This made them very happy. However, not only did Lin Xian not fall, but he had also become stronger. Uft! Long Ao even spat out a mouthful of old blood and directly fainted. If he had lost to someone else, he could still forgive him, but he had lost to Lin Xian. How could he tolerate this? However, if Long Ao were to know that this was just a clone of Lin Xian, the other party would probably have the heart to die. Lin Xian's appearance could be said to have set off an endless storm. All of a sudden, the atmosphere of the entire party changed completely. It was as if this gathering was no longer to build momentum for the Dragon Prince, but to prepare for Lin Xian's return. Everyone was looking at Lin Xian. All kinds of legends and discussions about him were spreading. The people of Dragon Palace were completely ignored. Humph! At this moment, a cold snort was heard. The 9 heavens were shaking. Everyone's bodies were trembling. When they came back to their senses, cold sweat flowed down. They had forgotten that the Dragon Prince was still here. This was an emperor's son. Once he was enraged, who could stop him? In the sky, the Dragon Prince said coldly, Kid, I didn't expect you to grow to this extent. It's really surprising, but you actually dared to ruin my party. You've got guts. Kneel on the ground and apologize. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you will die without a doubt. The Dragon Prince's gaze was like a divine sword piercing through the 9 heavens. Everyone was frightened and kept retreating. Under this power, no one seemed to be able to resist. The Crimson Dragon and the others were facing a great enemy. Even Yi Wu Dao clenched his fists. They didn't care about Long Ao, but the Dragon Prince was different. The other party had the strongest bloodline in the world. That was the bloodline of a great emperor. Moreover, the other party cultivated an emperor scripture. Such a person was the strongest enemy. Kneel down and accept death? With just you? Lin Xian raised his head and snorted coldly. Get down here. I don't like to raise my head and talk to others. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. This guy dared to challenge the emperor's son? Where did his courage come from? How dare he? The experts of Dragon Palace were also angry. Who do you think you are? How dare you challenge our dragon prince? Noisy. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, several rays of demonic light flew out and instantly pierced through the roaring people. Screams rang out. Those people were nailed to death in the void. Everyone was terrified. These people were also experts of Dragon Palace, top geniuses, but now they couldn't even block one move from Lin Xian. Lin Xian retracted his hand and said coldly, I'm talking to the emperor's son. You're not qualified to challenge me. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian had grown to the point where he could compete with the emperor's son? Even Bai Su and the others couldn't believe it, because in their opinion, the emperor's son's opponent was only another emperor's son. He was above everyone else. And no matter how strong they were, they only had one title, and that was the strongest person under the emperor's son. For example, Long Ao used this title before, but no one dared to challenge the emperor's son. No one dared to make a move on the emperor's son. Lin Xian wanted to be the first challenger. You want to challenge me? I'm afraid you're not qualified. The dragon prince's voice was cold. In his eyes, everyone under the emperor's son was an ant. Even if Lin Xian defeated Long Ao, he was still not qualified. Lin Xian laughed. So what if he was the emperor's son? None of the emperors who became emperors in the past were emperors. They were all experts who walked out of countless dust. No matter how strong you are, you're just emperor. You can't become emperor. And I'm in existence who will become an emperor in the future. It's your honor that I challenge you. Lin Xian stepped into the air. His body walked up to the 9 heavens. This guy's belief was really too strong. The surrounding people were shocked. They kept retreating. At the same time, they were excited. They could finally see a top expert challenging an emperor's son. They wondered how many moves this Lin Wudi could take. For the past 10 years, he had disappeared. He must have gone out to train. They wondered if he had any gains. If he broke through to become a great sage, he might be able to compete with the Dragon Emperor. But now, it was a pity that his cultivation seemed to be weaker than the Dragon Prince. The people of the Dragon Palace snorted coldly. He couldn't even resist a finger of the Dragon Prince. Just wait. He'll definitely die in one move. What qualifications do you have to stand side by side with me? Get down. Seeing Lin Xian walking up, the Dragon Prince snorted coldly. He stomped his foot, and the endless void turned into fragments. A terrifying force rushed toward Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian punched out. The 6 paths fist shone brightly and pressed forward. Boom! The two collided, and an endless black hole appeared. Flames danced in the air. Lin Xian blocked the kick like a dragon coming out of the sea. Then he stood above the 9 heavens and stood side by side with the Dragon Prince. Heavens, he actually managed to block it. Countless people were in an uproar. Even the people of the Dragon Palace couldn't believe it. Did he really have the qualifications to challenge the Emperor's son? Chapter 5061. Am I qualified now? Lin Xian looked at the Dragon Prince and smirked. The Dragon Prince's face was terrifyingly dark. It was unbelievable that Lin Xian could block his attack. One had to know how terrifying his bloodline was. Even if it was a great sage middle stage, this move would be trampled into pieces by him. But Lin Xian blocked it. I underestimated you. Your talent is indeed super strong. If there were no Thearchs, no one would be able to compete with you. But it's a pity that I've appeared, so you must be trampled under my feet. The Dragon Prince's eyes shone with confidence again. So what if Lin Xian blocked it? That was just a casual attack. Next, He would let Lin Xian know what despair was. Dragon Path, Divine Fist. The Dragon Prince punched out. Such a terrifying technique was in his hands. It was 10 times stronger than Long Aozi's previous attack. The terrifying light broke through the sky. So strong. Countless people looked up at the sky in horror. Lin Xian snorted coldly. It was the six-path fist again. The two collided again as if two worlds were colliding. After one attack, Lin Xian laughed. Is this the strength of the arch? That's all. That's all. The Dragon Prince's pupils constricted when he heard this. Lin Xian actually dared to underestimate him. Dragon Path 9 transformations. First transformation. Another attack was thrown out, and there was a giant dragon in the sky. The power of this attack was even more terrifying than the Dragon Path Divine Fist. Countless people exclaimed, "It's the Thearka's divine ability. This power is much stronger than Long Aozi's. This Lin Xian is dead. That's for sure. No matter how strong he is, how can he block this attack? Brother Lin, let me see how you block it." Yi Wudao's eyes were also shining. Sword technique? Divine body? Or some other divine ability? In the face of this attack, Lin Xian also felt threatened. He took a deep breath and didn't dare to be careless. Then he slapped out his palm. His right hand was as black as ink, and it turned into a huge seal that slapped forward. The demonic god seal was also a Thearka's divine ability. Boom! The two collided again. The void shattered and chaos filled the air as if the world was splitting apart. Was Lin Wude dead? They looked ahead, but soon they were terrified. Lin Xian did not die. Instead, he managed to block the previous palm strike. This was too inconceivable. He was actually able to block the divine ability of a great emperor. Where did this guy come from? What had he been through all these years? The people of the Dragon Palace went crazy. Even the Dragon Prince's face turned pale again. How strong was he? Other than Kuan Pengzi, no one could make him serious. As for the others, they were all killed in one move. But now, he had already executed the martial monarch realm divine ability to deal with an ant, yet he still could not do anything to the other party. Dragon, traversing 9 transformations, second transformation. The 2 giant dragons rolled and charged forward. Its power increased exponentially. Lin Xian still used the Devil God Seal to contend against it, but the power above it was even more terrifying. Did he block the second attack as well? Everyone was shocked. If the first strike was due to luck, then the second strike was due to luck. It could no longer be explained by luck. Lin Xian really had the strength to compete with the Arch now. The Dragon Prince attacked again. This time, it was 3 dragon figures. The Devil God Seal shone brightly, and extremely terrifying runes appeared on it as if it was going to suppress heaven and earth. After one attack, the 3 dragon figures were suppressed between heaven and earth. They roared at the sky, but they could not escape. Lin Xian laughed. "Dragon Prince, you're just SOO. Someone like you still wants to be crowned king? Ridiculous. He did it. Did he really do it?" Bai Susu was shocked. The Crimson Dragon could not believe it either. Heavens, what did this kid use? Yi Wudao's eyes shone with a terrifying light as he stared at the black seal. "I feel a fresh aura on it. Could it be a great Emperor Realm divine ability?" He gasped. He did not expect Brother Lin to also cultivate a great Emperor Realm divine ability. No wonder he could compete with the Arch. The Dragon Prince did not make a move. His eyes shone brightly as he said coldly, "I didn't expect you to also know a divine ability. That was really out of my expectations." What? Lin Xian actually used a great Emperor Realm divine ability. Heavens, he actually knows a great Emperor Realm divine ability? Could it be that he's also a Arch? Impossible. He doesn't have such a bloodline power. Could it be that he found a great Emperor Realm divine ability in some ruins outside? His luck was too good. Exclamations of surprise rang out one after another. At this moment, everyone's eyes were red. They could only be envious that the Dragon Prince had a great Emperor Realm Divine ability because he was a Dharch. But Lin Xian was just like them. He was not a Dharch, nor was he a member of the Dharch race. But now, Lin Xian also had a great Emperor Realm Divine ability. They were about to go crazy. Even some of the older generation powerhouses' eyes were burning with passion. If there was a chance, they would attack at all costs. Had he been discovered? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, but soon he snorted coldly. So what? This time he didn't plan to hide. So what if he was discovered? Kid, do you think you can compete with me just because you know a great Emperor Realm Divine ability? You're too naive. The inheritance of an ancient great emperor is not as simple as you think. Next, I'll let you see it for yourself. Beside him, there were a few more figures of dragons rolling about. Obviously, the Dragon Prince was going to use an even more terrifying technique. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Suddenly, he was stunned and sighed. It seems that my time is up. Time is up? What does that mean? Everyone was puzzled. Soon, they discovered that the black seal in the sky was slowly disappearing. 3 giant dragons flew up and roared at the sky. Not only that, Lin Xian's figure also became dim, as if he would disappear at any time. What's going on? Is Lin Wudy injured? Is he going to die? Exclamations sounded one after another. The Crimson Dragon and the others were also nervous. Yi Wudao's eyes shone with a cold light. The next moment, he seemed to have discovered something and exclaimed, "No, it's not death, it's a clone." His clone's power was exhausted and was about to disappear. What? Is this a clone? Everyone was stunned. An existence that suppressed Long AO in 2 moves and could now use a great Emperor Realm Divine ability to compete with the Dragon Prince. You're telling me that this is just a clone? They couldn't accept it. Then where is Lin Xian's real body? How powerful is Lin Xian's real body? Could it be that he's already on par with the Crown Prince? Everyone felt like they were dreaming. Can someone really be so heaven-defying? Damn it, the Dragon Prince was also angry. He felt like he had been slapped in the face. The one who fought with him was just a clone. Was the other party looking down on him? He slapped out a palm, enveloping the clone. However, the demonic qi rolled and disappeared. Lin Xian's clone disappeared without a trace. Chapter 5062. It doesn't matter if you're a clone or your real body. You'll still be destroyed when you meet me. Lin Wudy, one day, I'll let you know what despair is. The Dragon Prince retracted his palm and looked around. He said coldly, "In a month, I'll be crowned as the Crown King in the True Path sect. By then, I'll be the king of the world." After saying that, he waved his sleeve and turned to leave. The gathering had been completely ruined by Lin Xian. He was too ashamed to stay any longer. The people of the Dragon Palace also sent the guests off. The surrounding people all left. They were extremely shocked. They quickly spread the news, especially those from the 3 great orthodoxies and the clans of the ancients. Lin Xian's return caused a huge commotion. He was too powerful. What? You're saying that Lin Xian is back? Moreover, he could compete with the Dragon Prince. What a joke! Who does he think he is? How could he compete with the Emperor's son? Some experts and saints shook their heads when they heard that. However, they realized that the news was spreading like wildfire. Many people had seen it with their own eyes. Among them were the 5 great swordsmen of the Heavenly Sect, Yi Wudao, and the Overlord of the Earth Sect. These people would not lie. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Has Lin Xian become so powerful? He was too heaven-defying. He was really a young great emperor. Did you know that's not all? The one who competed with the Dragon Prince was only Lin Xian's clone. This news made countless people go crazy. A clone competed with the Emperor's son. Oh heavens, oh earth, what kind of scene was this? Everyone felt that it was so unreal. A young supreme being. Lin Xian already had the strength of an emperor's son. He was above everything. It was said that he had also cultivated the great emperor's divine power. Who could suppress him in the future? Discussions could be heard one after another. At this moment, the people from the three great orthodoxies were shocked. The clans of the ancients and the great sects were terrified, especially those who had a grudge against Lin Xian. They were facing a great enemy. Now, they could only pin their hopes on the Dragon Prince. They hoped that the Dragon Prince could show his strength and kill Lin Xian. When Tianzong heard the news, he was also shocked. Kunpingzi's eyes flashed. Lin Xian, another opponent, had appeared out of nowhere. Previously, he didn't pay any attention to it at all. As far as he was concerned, his strongest opponent was only the Dragon Prince. Of course, there were other threats, such as Leaf, Dowdenier, and Ancient Wind. These people cultivated the inheritances of the great emperors. In the future, they might be able to fight against them. But as for Lin Xian, he didn't care at all. But now, the speed at which the other party grew had far exceeded his imagination. A young supreme being? Interesting, it really was a golden age. But I am not afraid of anything. Kunpingzi stood up, and the yin and yang qi flowed around his body. He was like a god, abnormally mysterious. The people of Dragon Palace gnashed their teeth. The 10,000 Dragon Court had also gathered countless experts and elders. Someone said, "Who would have thought that he was such a scourge? I'll go and kill him." A terrifying great sage walked out, his body radiating with biting, cold, killing intent. However, one of the ancestors shook his head. No matter how strong he was, he definitely wouldn't be a match for the Dragon Prince. They would keep him alive. When the Dragon Prince was crowned, they would use him as a sacrifice. The eyes of the people of the 10,000 Dragon Court lit up. In a month, the Dragon Prince would be crowned king. At that time, during the ceremony, the Dragon Prince would kill Lin Xian in front of the entire world. Only then would the world be shocked, and everyone would know who was the ruler of the world. There was only a month left. They had to prepare well and invite the experts of the world. This time, their coronation had to surpass Kunpingzi's. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Court moved quickly. On the other side, in the core region of the Taoist sect, when the elders found out, they were all stunned. They had misjudged. They didn't expect the Taoist sect to have such a hidden dragon, but they were hesitant. If it was before, they would definitely be happy, because this Lin Xian also had the right to be crowned king. But it was different now. The Dragon Prince was about to be crowned. The Dragon Prince and Lin Xian were sworn enemies. Could the Taoist sect support two people? They could only choose one. Some of the elders sighed. They seemed to have thought of something. Previously, before Lin Xian, there had also been someone who had displayed the talent of a young paragon. That was Long Guang, a powerhouse of the dragon tribe. He had once competed with the Dragon Prince, but had unexpectedly fallen. Although there was no evidence, these elders knew that it was very likely that the 10,000 Dragon Court had done it. The 10,000 Dragon Court didn't allow anyone to threaten the Dragon Prince. Would Lin Xian be the second Long Guang? What would happen to him? These elders didn't know, but they weren't optimistic. On the other hand, the Divine Union was extremely excited. On this day, all the members of the Divine Union gathered together. They were extremely excited as they looked ahead. Boss Lin had returned and could even compete with the Dragon Prince. What kind of scene was this? Previously, they had been suppressed by the Dragon Palace and couldn't raise their heads. Many people had even been seriously injured, and some had even fallen. They had thought that the Divine Union was finished. They hadn't expected that things would turn around and Lin Xian would return. The Divine Union was finally going to rise again. Ahead, the Crimson Dragon and the others were also waiting. Not long after, a devil-like figure appeared in the distance. Was it another clone? The Crimson Dragon asked. That figure was Lin Xian's clone. He nodded. I'm trying my best to break through the sacred Gulf Tower and reach the peak within a month. Therefore, my main body can't come out." The Crimson Dragon and the others gasped when they heard this. Reaching the peak within a month? Wouldn't that mean that he would also be crowned as a monarch? Was the Divine Union going to have a monarch with one crown? That was great. This way, they wouldn't have to fear the Dragon Palace anymore. So what if it was the Dragon Prince? They also had a monarch with one crown on their side, with his clone overseeing the Divine Union. Lin Xian also started to make arrangements. He said loudly, "Everyone, I know that you have been suppressed and attacked previously. We will take revenge." Cheers rang out one after another as the members of the Divine Union roared. They had all seen hope. Lin Xian waved his hand once again and smiled. "Come, let me introduce some new friends to everyone." With a wave of his hand, a vortex appeared in the air. "Senior Soul, come out." The people who walked out were the Soul Sage, Soul Cliff, and the other Soul Sages. After they came out, they stood in the void, and a terrifying, murderous aura spread in all directions. The surrounding geniuses of the Divine Union narrowed their eyes. They felt a biting, cold, murderous intent engulf them. It seemed like it could easily tear their bodies apart. Who were these people? The Crimson Dragon was also surprised. Chapter 5063. By Susu frowned and said, "What a terrifying, murderous aura! Could they be assassins?" Lin Xian smiled. That's right, they were assassins and extremely terrifying killing sages. They appeared and disappeared mysteriously and killed without leaving a trace. These are my life and death friends that I met when I was training outside. From now on, we will be a family. Next, it was time to celebrate. Everyone was excited to meet again after more than 10 years. Therefore, the banquet lasted for 6 days, and everyone was still unsatisfied. However, the Crimson Dragon and the rest knew that there were more important things waiting for them. Today, everyone gathered again. Lin Xian asked about what had happened in the past 10 years. Soon he frowned. "Are you saying that Lan Xiu was the one who led the suppression of the Divine Union all these years?" Lin Xian's face was cold. This woman had attacked them more than once. Previously, she had relied on the geniuses of the Blue Tribe. Later on, when the geniuses of the Blue Tribe were destroyed, she had relied on Long Ao. She had used the power of the Dragon Palace to suppress them. It seemed like there was no need for her to exist. "Let's start with her," Lin Xian said coldly. Since Lan Xiu was the main culprit, he would not let her go no matter what. "Let's go and take revenge." Lin Xian waved his hand and walked forward. At this moment, more terrifying news came. The Dragon Prince had successfully reached the top. At this moment, a terrifying bell sound came from the Holy Gulf Tower and reverberated in all directions. Countless people in the Holy Gulf ancient city looked into the distance. Had someone reached the top again? The Dragon Prince had done it. It was a fact that he had been crowned as the King of the Crown. Exclamations were heard one after another. The people of the Dragon Palace laughed heartily. This was great. The families and sects under the Dragon Prince were also ecstatic. From now on, they would soar to the sky. Tianzong frowned, and Kunping Zi's eyes flickered. Had he finally reached the top? Now he was qualified to fight with them. When the time came, they would have to see how strong he was. A black and white aura appeared in his eyes. Lin Xian and the rest were also solemn when they heard the news. Reaching the top represented a pinnacle of strength. Bai Susu and the others turned to look at Lin Xian. Was he still going to make a move? After all, the Blue Clan was under the Dragon Emperor's command. Attack! Lin Xian remained unmoved. His main body had already swept through the sacred Abyss Tower. With the strength of his main body, it was only a matter of time before he reached the peak. So, he was not afraid of the Dragon Prince at all. They walked towards the Dragon Palace, but learned that Lan Xiu had already left. The toad said, "She didn't return to the Dragon Palace at all." Ever since Long Ao's Tao heart was shattered, she seemed to have left with her family. This woman is really scheming, the Crimson Dragon snorted. Now that Long Ao was crippled, Lan Xiu didn't even dare to return to the Dragon Palace without any backing. It seems that she knows we should look for her again. Bai Susu harumphed coldly. Unfortunately for her, she won't be able to escape. We've been keeping an eye on her for a long time now, and we know the 3 places she frequents. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led his men out. Bright Moon Lake. This place was like a paradise on earth, and it was a place Lan Xiu frequented before. At this moment, there were still guards from the Dragon Palace guarding this place. Suddenly, their pupils constricted because they saw a group of people appear in front of them. Who is it? Stop, go back. This is not a place you can come. The people from the Dragon Palace shouted coldly. However, what greeted them was a slap. A black palm blotted out the sky and covered the earth, smashing them into a bloody mist. Damn it, who is it? It's too powerful. The guards were horrified. There was a great sage among them, and his face was filled with despair. Someone who could kill him in one move was definitely not an ordinary person. The terrifying demonic aura reminded him of someone who had just returned. You're Lin Xian. He was horrified. Lin Xian smiled. That's right, it's me. Where's Lan Ziyu? Are you looking for Fairy Lan? She's not here. The great sage was horrified. Lin Wudi, don't go too far. Don't you know that our dragon prince has already reached the peak? So what? Lin Xian was unmoved. He slapped the other party's soul into pieces. Then he said, go in and look for her. The people from the Divine Union moved out one after another, and a huge battle ensued. Some of the guards inside were also roaring. They wanted to send out a distress signal. Lin Xian's hand covered the entire area. Not a single message could be sent out. The Crimson Dragon and the others moved out. This time the people from the Soul Sect also came. Han Yi led them and appeared and disappeared unpredictably. In the end, everyone in the Bright Moon Lake died. An entire lake was dyed red with blood. Is she here? Lin Xian asked. Those people searched once and shattered the ground, turning it into an abyss. They said, no, she's not here. Then they went to another place. Then the 2nd and 3rd places all received devastating blows. However, there was still no sign of Lan Ziyu. Where did he go? Bai Susu said he should have returned to the Blue Tribe. I know about their branches, Manor Domain. The Blue Tribe? Let's go. The group set off again. So what if it was a clan of the ancients? They still dared to attack aggressively. Blue Feather Manor. The manor that was named after Lan Ziyu was a newly built territory. The people who lived there were from Lan Ziyu's lineage. At the moment, many experts were gathered in Blue Feather Manor. An old man stood with his hands behind his back. He was Lan Ziyu's grandfather. Beside him was Lan Ziyu's father and the other powerhouses of the Blue Tribe. Someone said, that's great. Although Long Ao's Tao heart was shattered, the Dragon Prince finally succeeded. The Blue Tribe's strength will also increase in the future and surpass the other clan of the ancients. Lin Wudi is nothing to be afraid of. Lan Ziyu's grandfather smiled. I've already received a piece of news. The Dragon Prince will personally kill Lin Wudi during the monarch conferral ceremony to intimidate everyone. Therefore, Lin Wudi will definitely die. Ha 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 ha. They all burst into laughter. At that moment, an earth-shattering voice rang out. A ray of sword light pierced through the 9 heavens like a bolt of lightning, splitting the sky and earth. Their great hall also began to shake violently. Who is it? How dare they come to the Blue Manor and behave atrociously? The powerhouses all walked out. They saw the sky split open in front of them, and a group of people walked over. The one at the front was a man in a black robe. Lin Wudi, it's you. How dare you come here? Lan Ziyu's father roared. You're courting death. Attack! At his command, countless formations appeared around them, along with countless powerhouses of the Blue Tribe. The formations flashed with terrifying lightning, terrifying flames, and torrential seawater. They all rushed over, trying to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian roared and waved his hand. Terrifying sword qi slashed out in all directions, shattering the sky and earth. Countless cracks appeared on those spirit formations, and they shattered into pieces. Chapter 5064. The people from the Blue Clan were stunned. These arrays had been carefully set up by them and were terrifying. Even a group of great sages might not be able to break them. But now, with just a few simple swords from Lin Xian, he was torn into pieces. How terrifying was this guy's strength! Lan Ziyu's father's face turned ugly. They knew that the other party was strong, but they had not seen it with their own eyes. Therefore, they all felt that the rumors were exaggerated and that there were a lot of exaggerations. But now that they saw the scene, they changed their minds. They had underestimated the other party. Father, the middle-aged man, looked at the old man behind him. The old man's face was cold as he walked out. He was Lan Ziyu's grandfather. Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Kneel down now and break your own arms. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. A piercingly cold voice rang out. The surrounding void could not withstand this power and began to crack open. Lin Xian laughed after hearing this. Hand over Lan Ziyu, and I'll let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to be reincarnated. You're courting death. Stubborn. Elder Lan was completely enraged. He waved his palm. Everywhere it passed, the world was frozen. It was as if a world of ice had descended. The void around Lin Xian turned into an ice cage. The strength of this attack shocked the people from the Divine Union. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had not expected this elder to be an expert who had surpassed the average intermediate great sage. However, Lin Xian was still not afraid. The other party was not a great sage. Therefore, he sneered and thought, "You want to trap me with these petty tricks of yours?" Sword qi appeared in his hand and slashed in all directions. The piercingly cold sword light shattered all the ice in the surroundings. The monstrous sword shadow seemed to shatter everything. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The surrounding ice shattered into pieces. Elder Lan's pupils shrank. He kept retreating. One of his arms was cut open and blood was staining it. "Elder!" Countless people exclaimed. The middle-aged man's pupils shrank as well. "Father, are you okay?" They were all scared silly. This young man in front of them was actually so powerful that even their elders were no match for him. Lin Xian sneered. "You dare to contend with me with this little bit of strength? Hand over Lan Ziyu. Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You actually dared to hurt me. I will let you know what despair is." The old man threw away the walking stick in his hand. A blue rune appeared between his eyebrows and spread throughout his body. "Father!" When he saw this scene, the middle-aged man exclaimed, "Could it be that he's going to execute that ultimate technique?" However, he still wanted to say something, but Elder Lan waved his hand and stopped him. "After recuperating for so many years, some people have already forgotten my name. Now it was time to show off his strength and let these young juniors see what a true peerless expert was." As the blue runes spread, Elder Blue's power kept increasing. Behind them, the Crimson Dragon and the others also frowned. What was this? The people from the Divine Union exclaimed. The Crimson Dragon said, "It was a secret technique that could seal part of one's cultivation to prolong one's life. Once it was executed, one would recover to their peak combat strength, but the loss of life would intensify." It seemed that the old man was serious. So what if he was serious? Toad snorted coldly. Let's see his expression of despair later. It was freezing up ahead. Elder Blue's aura was much more tyrannical than before. He was like the god of ice, and an ice divine sword appeared in his hand. With a wave of his hand, the world was frozen. "Young man, how do you want to die?" "I will fulfill your wish." The ice divine sword pointed forward, and an ice dragon condensed. Wherever he passed, nothing could escape. Was he still hiding his strength? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Lan Ziyu's grandfather to be an expert. It was a pity that the other party had met him. The demonic aura on his body condensed and formed a demonic sword. Lin Xian walked forward. "You want to compete with me in sword techniques? Do you know what sword techniques are?" As he spoke, a biting cold sword aura slashed forward, and a terrifying demonic light surged through the 9 heavens. That ice dragon was instantly shattered. "You have some strength. Watch my blue spirit sword." The ice divine sword swayed, and the terrifying sword light turned into an illusion, shrouding the front. "Retreat quickly." The people of the Blue clan quickly retreated. They were nervous and expectant. The middle-aged man snorted. His father had already used all his strength. The other party definitely couldn't resist. There was still a huge gap between a top genius and a peerless powerhouse. The sword light that filled the sky split open, and the cold aura froze everything. A black figure was also sealed in ice. When Elder Blue saw this, the corners of his mouth curled up. It was over. He walked up. The people of the Blue clan laughed. It was over so quickly. Could this guy compete with the Dragon Prince? What a joke. Elder Blue's sword cleaved the black figure into 2 halves. However, his pupils shrank. No blood flowed out. Was it an afterimage? He suddenly turned around, only to find a demonic sword flying toward his forehead. In a panic, he formed a seal with his palms, and a blue ice divine shield blocked it. He was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blue shield was also split in half. Elder Blue's face turned ugly, and the middle-aged man behind him was horrified. That was a divine artifact. How could it be split in half? How terrifying was the power of this sword? If his father didn't have a trump card, that sword could have avoided his father's head. I've said it before. You're courting death if you want to compete with me in sword techniques. Lin Xian had already used Shadowless Heaven's net to dodge that sword. That was the first strike of the Shura sword, which was blocked by his opponent's divine artifact. However, he didn't care. He wanted to see how many strikes his opponent could block. "How dare you destroy my divine artifact? You've completely angered me." Elder Blue snorted. He waved his hand and took out another divine artifact. It was a weapon that looked like a teapot. It was exquisite, and there were endless runes of law revolving around it. It was the blue smoke pot. He activated it, and blue mist floated out from it. Like ribbons, it wrapped around the front. There was a sinister power on it. The people from the Blue clan laughed when they saw this. They knew that the blue smoke pot was an extremely terrifying treasure. Once entangled by the blue mist, there was no way to escape. Let's see how that kid will die this time. The blue mist surrounded Lin Xian, and even Lin Xian's sword light seemed to be entangled. Seeing this scene, Elder Blue laughed loudly. "Little Zay, although you're strong, you're too young. You're no match for me in terms of foundation. I only need to take out a few divine artifacts to make you despair. Now that you're entangled by my blue smoke pot, let's see how you can escape." He raised the blue smoke pot, wanting to suck Lin Xian in. Chapter 5065. Lin Xian frowned when he sensed the terrifying aura. He had to admit that the other party's saint artifact was indeed extraordinary. Seeing that Lin Xian was resisting, Elder Blue snorted coldly. "Kid, it's useless. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to withstand it. To be honest, you're indeed a top-notch genius. You don't have the bloodline of a Dharch, but your talent and strength are comparable to a Thearch's. No matter which era you were in, you could reach the peak and even become a great emperor. But it's a pity that you appeared in this era. In this era, there are several thearchs. Moreover, you're too arrogant. You actually dared to offend an elder like me. Therefore, I'll send you on your way. A dead genius is nothing. A smile appeared on Su Chen's face. A dead genius? You're too arrogant. Who do you think you are? Also, let me tell you, the one you're fighting now is just a clone of mine. What? Clone? Elder Blue's pupils constricted when he heard this. He didn't dare to believe that the other party's clone was already so powerful. Damn it, this made him feel a strong sense of danger. Even if he killed the other party's clone, so what? Damn it, I don't believe you. Don't try to lie to me. Kid, do you think I can't see through your plan? You want to distract me so that you can escape? What a joke. Elder Blue was unmoved and continued to activate the mist smoke pot. Tens of thousands of wisps of smoke filled the air, trying to pull Lin Xian into it. Go to hell. The blue smoke pot contained an extremely powerful energy that could turn the other party into a pool of blood. Ignorant, you're already old. Let me show you the power of the heart. Lin Xian released a terrifying demonic aura. It was as if he had transformed into a demon lord. However, he was still sucked in. Lin Xian's figure disappeared and entered the blue smoke pot. Elder Blue looked up and laughed. Clone? Genius? You'll be a pool of blood after you enter. Great, the elder is mighty. When the people of the blue race saw this, they all looked up and laughed. The crimson dragon frowned. This saint artifact was extremely extraordinary. He wondered how Lin Xian was doing. Although they were nervous, they were not worried. This was because it was indeed just a clone. However, if the doppelganger was destroyed, then their operation this time would have failed. Wong! Boom! At this moment, a deep sound rang out between heaven and earth, followed by a violent roar. Everyone looked over, and the faces of the Blue clan members turned ugly. Elder Blue's expression turned grave. He realized that the sound was coming from the blue smoke pot in his hand. At this moment, the mist smoke pot was shaking violently, and the radiance on the fan had dimmed. Clearly, the people inside were making a move. Damn it, how is this possible? Refine it for me. Elder Blue roared crazily as he unleashed countless laws. However, the blue smoke pot was becoming dimmer and dimmer. It looked like it could shatter at any moment. Damn it! Elder Blue didn't dare to be careless anymore. He quickly opened the blue smoke pot. A figure flew out from inside. It was Lin Xian. At this moment, his body was surrounded by demonic qi, so he was unharmed. Do you think a mere saint artifact can do anything to me? Lin Xian stood in the sky with a mocking expression. Damn brat! Elder Blue had long lost his previous calmness. Lin Xian shook his head. Everything was over. Even if it's just a doppelganger, it's not something you can resist. A black seal condensed in Lin Xian's hand. Damn brat! How dare you look down on me? Fine, then I'll let you die under my ultimate technique. Elder Blue put away the blue smoke pot. His palms kept forming seals, and the bloodline laws on his body erupted. Behind him, the phantom of a frost wolf formed. As soon as the frost wolf appeared, it roared towards the sky. It was as if an ancient divine beast had been resurrected. It let out a terrifying roar. The surrounding people's blood boiled. Brat, can you block this move? If you can't, then die. Elder Blue waved his hand, and the frost wolf behind him rushed out. A pair of sharp claws fell from the sky. This was a law divine beast condensed from his bloodline. Its strength was terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the blue smoke pot from before. Under this attack, the other party would definitely be torn to pieces. Looking at the phantom of the frost wolf that rushed over and the terrifying storm that filled the sky, Lin Xian shook his head. Is this your strongest attack? It's really disappointing. He waved his hand, and the black demon god seal fell down. Useless brat, you can't resist at all. Elder Blue sneered. However, his smile soon froze because he found that the phantom of his bloodline had stopped in midair. It was suppressed by a black seal. Damn it, what is that seal? Elder Blue was dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Could it be a terrifying, sacred artifact? Damn it, this brat really has a trump card. Just as he was thinking, the demon god seal fell. The bloodline god wolf let out a blood-curdling scream as it was torn into pieces. Elder Blue also vomited blood and kept retreating. His face was incomparably pale. Even his bloodline ability was broken, and he was seriously injured. What made him even more frightened was that the black seal was directly above his head and would fall at any time. Damn it, how dare you! Let go of our elder. The people of the Blue clan in the distance roared crazily. Elder Blue also shouted angrily, "Do you dare to kill me? The Blue clan is an ancient clan and I'm just an elder. The Blue clan has countless experts, and if you kill me, you will be hunted down crazily. You have to think carefully. Are these your last words? Then go to hell." In the face of such a threat, Lin Xian wasn't moved. The demon god seal fell and blasted Elder Blue into a bloody mist. With a wave of his hand, a storage ring flew out. There were sacred artifacts such as the blue smoke pot in it, and Lin Xian put it away. Elder. The people of the Blue clan knelt on the ground. The middle-aged man's face was also filled with despair, and his body was trembling. In the distant sky, two figures streaked across. These two were extremely terrifying. The flames on their bodies were even more terrifying, and there were dragon shadows surrounding them. They were the two elders of the Fire Dragon clan. One of them said, "The Dragon Prince has ascended to the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower. It won't be long before he's crowned. We have to hurry over to congratulate him." The other person shook his head and sighed. "What a pity. Because of the Fire Dragon Lady, we stood on Lin Xian's side. I'm afraid we've already offended the Dragon Prince." This time, no matter what price they had to beg for the Dragon Prince's forgiveness. The two of them were worried about the future of the Fire Dragon clan. Suddenly, the two of them were stunned. There was a huge battle ahead, and it was an extremely terrifying battle between great saints. Who was it? The two of them were curious and went over to take a look. When they arrived, they realized that it was the Blue clan's manor. Who dared to attack the Blue clan? They knew that the Blue clan was now the favorite of the Dragon Palace. They were an existence that everyone looked up to and envied. But now, someone dared to attack them? They looked down, and in the next moment, they saw an elder vomiting blood and flying backward. That was Lan Ziu's grandfather, right? Lan Ziu's status in the Dragon Palace was extraordinary. As the two of them talked, their pupils shrank. They realized that the elder below had been blasted into a bloody mist, and his soul had been destroyed. Chapter 5066. Who was the one who did it? The two elders of the Fire Dragon tribe were so scared that their scalps went numb. They looked carefully. In the next moment, they saw a demon-like figure appear from below. A young man. Who is he? It's him, Lin Xian Lin Wudi. He was the one who did it. Is this guy so powerful? It seemed that all the rumors about him were true. Just at this moment, the two elders' figures flashed as they left the place swiftly. That was because they discovered that the figure below was looking up at the sky. The two dodged and went up to the sky. One of them asked, "What should we do? Will he come after us?" Someone else said, "We just saw it by accident. Let's go back to the Fire Dragon tribe. Aren't we going to see the Dragon Prince? We'll talk about it when we get back." This guy doesn't seem to be afraid of the Dragon Prince at all. The Fire Dragon tribe originally wanted to join the Dragon Prince, but after seeing Lin Xian attack, they hesitated. The two elders left and returned to their families. Below, Lin Xian looked up at the sky and narrowed his eyes. Just now, he had sensed two obscure yet powerful auras flashing past. The power of fire and the aura of the Dragon tribe. Fire Dragon tribe? He retracted his gaze and ignored them. These two were probably just passing by. Lin Xian turned around and looked back. There were many Blue Tribe warriors kneeling on the ground. Lan Ziu's father, the middle-aged man, was also there. The middle-aged man felt Lin Xian's gaze and trembled in fear. He gritted his teeth and said, "We were wrong. We apologize to you, Lin Gongzi. Please give us a way out." I think Lin Gongzi doesn't want to be hunted down by the Blue Tribe either. Also, the Blue Tribe is now under the Dragon Prince. They lowered their heads and admitted their guilt. At the same time, they revealed their identities. As long as they were smart, they wouldn't continue to attack them. Once Lin Xian left, they would mobilize the power of their families and the Dragon Tribe to fight back crazily. Lan Ziu's father swore that he would capture Lin Xian and make him suffer. The Dragon Prince, Lin Xian, narrowed his eyes. Others are afraid of him, but I'm not. Hand over Lan Ziu. Lin Gongzi, I've said everything I wanted to say. Do you really want to fall out with the blue race? Who do you think you are to be my enemy? Lin Xian sneered and sent the middle-aged man flying with a slap. Half of the middle-aged man's face was shattered. He roared, "Damn it, I'll fight out with you." He wanted to make a move, but he was instantly suppressed. Lin Xian crushed his opponent's body with a single step. He snorted coldly and said, "You don't have the qualifications to fight me. Since you won't tell me where Lan Ziu is, I'll do it myself." The surrounding players also wanted to escape, but they were all beaten back by the Crimson Dragon and the others. He fell to the ground in despair. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms as a terrifying light flickered in his eyes. A pair of heavenly gods' eyes appeared above the 9 heavens and looked down. The light of reincarnation. You will feel despair for the next 10,000 years. Lin Xian used his powerful eye technique. The people of the Blue Clan let out miserable cries as their souls were tortured endlessly. Lin Xian began to search the middle-aged man's soul again. Then his lips curled into a cold smile. "Not here, in the headquarters of the Blue Clan. But do you think you can escape?" Lin Xian didn't continue to search. He had the demon summoning scripture, which contained countless Abhijna laws. One of them was specially used for revenge. The demon summoning scripture was created by the demon emperor. Demons acted without scruples, so their methods were naturally strange. Yun Xian waved his hand and grabbed the middle-aged man's soul. The middle-aged man screamed crazily, "Damn it, what are you doing?" Lin Xian snorted coldly, "Use your soul to find your daughter's whereabouts." He formed a few demonic runes with his palm and imprinted them in the void. The middle-aged man's soul wanted to escape, but it was instantly frozen and then quickly burned. Lin Xian waved his hand again and formed a black rune to merge with the middle-aged man's soul. In the next moment, the demonic body on his body condensed into a demonic bow. The demonic bow was drawn, and with the soul rune it flew into the sky. The middle-aged man was Lan Ziu's father. With his bloodline inheritance, he could instantly lock Lan Ziu's position with his soul bloodline. As for the arrow just now, it carried an extremely strong killing aura. Lan Ziu couldn't escape. The headquarters of the Blue Clan was also jubilant. They were preparing to attend the coronation ceremony of the Dragon Prince. At that time, they would be in the limelight. Inside a palace, Lan Ziu sat there, surrounded by some young geniuses. These were all geniuses of the Blue Clan. At this moment, they were all surrounding Lan Ziu, treating her as their leader. Lan Ziu's current status wasn't ordinary, but her brows were tightly knitted. Although the Dragon Prince succeeded, Long Ao was crippled. Her status wouldn't be good in the future. Damn it, it's all that Lin Wudi's fault. Thinking of this, she gritted her teeth. She would definitely find a chance to kill him. Suddenly, she looked up. She felt uneasy, as if something was about to happen. She stood up. The surrounding geniuses of the Blue Clan said, "Sister Ziu, if there's anything, I'll help you." "Yes, Tell us if there's anything." The geniuses smiled, their faces full of flattery. Lan Xiu didn't say anything. She stared at the sky. The next moment, she saw a black descending quickly. The surrounding geniuses also felt it and looked up. What was that? A demon beast? But soon, the black dot arrived in front of them. At the same time, it carried an extremely strong, murderous aura. The geniuses were instantly sent flying, their bodies shattered. Oh no, it's an attack. Lan Xiu's pupils shrank. Her scalp went numb, and she immediately retreated. With her current strength, she was a top expert in the Dragon Palace. So, she was much stronger than the surrounding geniuses. But no matter how strong she was, could she be stronger than Lin Xian? This was a Thearchus theurgy. She couldn't dodge it at all. Just as she moved, the arrow pierced through her forehead, piercing her soul. A soul fire directly enveloped her. The next moment, her eyes widened, and she fell to the ground. She couldn't accept it. She didn't even know who killed her. Oh no! Xiu's soul jade tablet shattered. Someone exclaimed. The members of the blue race were stunned. How could it be? Xiu was in our headquarters. Who could come here to kill her? What a joke! However, some people frowned. Let's go and take a look. They walked towards Lan Xiu's residence. When they opened the palace door, they were dumbfounded. The surrounding geniuses' bodies were shattered, and they fell into a sea of blood. Lan Xiu's forehead was pierced by a black arrow. The aura of his soul had already disappeared. The Blue Clan elders instantly checked. The next moment, their faces turned pale. Dead. He was killed in one move. Chapter 5067. The leader of the Blue Clan was also alarmed. After she rushed over, she saw this scene and her face turned pale. He roared like a mad lion. Damn it, what's going on? Who did it? The surrounding people were so scared that they lowered their heads and didn't dare to speak. They were also terrified. They were from the far ancient clan, a clan of the ancients. They were powerful, but none of them noticed that an enemy had sneaked in. This was too terrifying. Was the enemy a top saint killer? They thought of several organizations. Hell, the mortal world? Or the heavenly court? A powerful elder furrowed his brows. No, it shouldn't be a saint killer. Look, that arrow obviously fell from the sky. Someone killed Xiu thousands of miles away. Hearing this, the others were even more terrified. Who had such a heaven-defying method? After all, Lan Xiu himself was a top genius. His strength was even more terrifying than some supreme saints. The leader of the Blue Clan shouted angrily, "Investigate this thoroughly. Find out who did it." He was about to go crazy with anger. Lan Xiu was very important. Now that he was dead, how was she going to explain it to the Dragon Clan? More importantly, the arrow in front of him carried a monstrous demonic aura, which reminded him of someone. Previously, the legend of Lin Xian's return mentioned that Lin Xian's demonic aura was monstrous, like a demon god. Now the arrow also had the same aura. Could it be that Lin Wudy did it? Damn it, he dared to do such a thing on the eve of the Dragon Prince's coronation? He was too arrogant. The Blue Clan went out to investigate. News of what had happened here had spread. Lan Xiu's identity was not ordinary. He was Long Ao's cultivation partner. He had a very high status in the Dragon Palace. He was also a genius in the Tao, a top genius of a clan of the ancients. Such an identity attracted the attention of countless people. So Lan Xiu's disappearance was investigated by countless people. Soon they found that Lan Xiu was dead and died in a very strange way. There were only arrows. Who could it be if not the enemy? The news spread so widely that the entire ancient city knew. Have you heard? Lan Xiu is dead. I know. It's said that he was killed by a sword from thousands of miles away. Who is this? His methods were too heaven-defying. This was not only a slap to the blue race's face, but also a challenge to the Dragon Palace. Who else could it be? It was said that the arrow was filled with demonic aura. It was probably Linwoody's doing. Voices rang out one after another. Everyone felt that Linwoody was the culprit. Even the people of the blue race thought so. However, they didn't dare to make a move. As long as Linwoody hid in the Tao sect, there was nothing they could do. With the talent that Linwoody had shown, no one in the Tao would be allowed to touch him. More importantly, it had been less than half a month since the Dragon Prince had been crowned. Before such a flourishing age, nothing could be allowed to happen. Now they could only hope that the Dragon Prince would personally kill the other party when he was crowned king. The other clans and sects were terrified. They quickly warned their disciples not to provoke Linwoody. Right now, Lin Xian was a demon king. The legend of Lin Xian once again spread through the ancient city. When this name was mentioned, everyone's faces paled, and their eyes were filled with reverence. When the people of the Divine Union heard the news, they roared with laughter. Ha 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 ha! This was great! This Lan Ziyu, who had been suppressing them previously, was now dead. Boss Lin was mighty. Let's see if the blue race still dared to be arrogant. The Divine Union was delighted. On the other hand, the people of the Dragon Palace were gritting their teeth in anger. The other party was slapping them in the face. However, they still didn't make a move. This was because the Thousand Dragon Court had sent news that they were to prepare for the king-conferring ceremony. The people outside were still waiting for the Dragon Palace to retaliate. However, after a few days, there was still no news from the Dragon Palace. This made everyone even more shocked. It seemed like even the Dragon Palace couldn't do anything to Linwoody. When the Dragon Prince heard this, he snorted. The geniuses of the blue race were no different from ants in his eyes. If they were killed, so be it. As for Linwoody, he would deal with him personally. It wouldn't take long, just a few more days. On the 96th level of the sacred Source Tower, Lin Xian's main body stood there with a solemn expression. When he had returned to the Holy Abyss ancient city, his main body had immediately come here to break through. Now he had fought his way to the 96th level. Needless to say, it was extremely difficult to reach the 90th level and above. It was no wonder that even someone as strong as the Dragon Prince had to spend a long time to reach the peak. Although it was difficult, Lin Xian wasn't afraid. With his current strength and the ancient superpowers that he had mastered, it was enough for him to reach the peak. However, there was one thing that he had to do. He had to rush before the coronation. Only then would he be able to fight the Dragon Prince during the coronation. There were still 3 more levels. Lin Xian took a deep breath. The last 3 levels were even more terrifying than the previous ones. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be much faster. Lin Xian felt his own aura. He didn't make a move immediately. Instead, he sat down with his legs crossed. It was time to break through. Lin Xian entered the Sword World. On this day, the Sword World was filled with lightning. Even the Hellfire Dragon was shocked. Did this guy break through? Or did he break through here? Oh heavens, his lightning tribulation was too terrifying. The Hellfire Dragon was shocked. This lightning calamity was almost the same as the young great emperor. There were even human-shaped lightning bolts in the void for Lin Xian to attack. After a huge battle, Lin Xian was covered in wounds. However, he still succeeded in passing the calamity. His aura exploded again. He had reached the peak of the Saint King realm. One more step and he would be a great saint. After breaking through, Lin Xian's strength became even stronger than before. He had a higher chance of winning against the Dragon Prince. Lin Xian came to the bottom of the sky-reaching ancient tree. He sat cross-legged on the spring of life. The strong vitality restored his body. Soon he was back to his peak. Then he left the Sword World and continued to challenge the next 3 levels. Finally, the Holy Abyss ancient city became more and more lively. Countless families and sects gathered from all over the world. They all had one goal, which was to participate in the king-conferring ceremony. The coronation of the Dragon Prince and the crowning of a crowned king attracted attention from all sides. The Tao sect was also unusually solemn at this moment. There were still 2 days before the most important moment. On the Divine Union's side, the Crimson Dragon was also paying close attention. More and more people had arrived. Even the experts from the Taiching ancient city had come. Bai Susu looked into the distance. There was a pagoda that stood tall in the 9 heavens. She sighed. How was that guy's progress? Would he be able to come out at the last moment? This was a moment of life and death for the Divine Union. Bai Susu's father was a core elder. He had already sent news that the Divine Union was in danger. Between the Dragon Prince and Lin Xian, the Tao sect could only choose one. Chapter 5068. The day had finally arrived. It was time for the Dragon Prince's coronation. The sky had just brightened when the entire True Path sect was bustling with noise and excitement. Countless people rushed over. The True Path sect's elders and geniuses went out to welcome the guests. Congratulatory voices could be heard one after another. Everyone was looking forward to it. These people were familiar with the coronation ceremony because they had seen it once before. It was the coronation of Kun Pengzi. Currently, the time between the two wasn't that long. It was only about 20 years. Kun Pengzi naturally came too. He stood with his hands behind his back. Around him were the elders and experts of the True Path sect. At this moment, he looked up and narrowed his eyes. The other people discussed spiritedly. Do you think these 2 imperial princes will come to fight? It was hard to say. If they were going to fight, it would probably be after today. After all, the Dragon Prince was going to be crowned king today. Discussions broke out one after another. Soon, people from Dragon Palace also arrived. They raised their heads proudly. After arriving, they received countless tributes. Among them, most of them were the families and sects that relied on them. The people from the 1,000 Dragon Court arrived. The core elders of the True Path sect also appeared. Even the divine generals of the sacred Abyss Tower arrived. They would be hosting the coronation ceremony together. The Dragon Prince also came. He was like a dragon god, looking down on everyone. His arrival caused countless people to exclaim. Some young geniuses were envious. Leaf, Dowdenier, and Ancient Wind were both feeling the pressure. The other party's bloodline talent was stronger than theirs. Now that he was crowned king earlier, they would be under a lot of pressure if they wanted to catch up with him in the future. Kun Pengzi's eyes shone brightly. The Dragon Prince also turned his head and stared at the other party. The corners of his mouth curled up. Don't worry. You and I will fight after today. When the time comes, we will decide who is better. As you wish. Kun Pengzi's voice was sonorous. Next, the Dragon Prince accepted the coronation ceremony. A crown appeared in divine General Shen Yuan's hand. Everyone was looking forward to it. As long as the crown was placed on the Dragon Prince's head, he would be crowned king in the future. In the crowd, the people from the Divine Union gritted their teeth when they saw this. Damn it! The Crimson Dragon and the others were also anxious. Was that kid not here yet? The people from the Dragon Palace sneered. From now on, the Dragon Prince would be revered. Lin Wudi was dead. Where is he? Today he was going to kill him. A series of cold harumphs could be heard. The Dragon Prince put on the crown and became the crown king. He stood in front and looked around. He accepted the worship and congratulations of the people around him. The surrounding clan of the ancients and the great sects all looked envious. A son should be like a dragon prince. If such a person could appear in their family, then they would have no worries for the next 10,000 years. The Dragon King, who was wearing a crown, shouted coldly, "Where was Lin Xian? Didn't he always want to challenge my dragon palace? Come out and fight." His words caused an uproar. Heavens, the other party was really going to attack Lin Xian. Exclamations could be heard one after another. The members of the Divine Union had ugly expressions on their faces. The people of Dragon Palace sneered. Wasn't he arrogant before? Aren't you looking down on Dragon Palace? Why don't you dare to come out now? Coward, trash! Ants. How dare someone like him claim to be invincible? Someone else harumphed. Lin Xian wasn't coming out, but the people of the Divine Union seemed to be here. Attacking them was the same. Countless eyes stared at the Crimson Dragon and the others. The surrounding people dispersed, and an empty space appeared. The Crimson Dragon, by Susu and the other members of the Divine Union, had ugly expressions on their faces. Damn it, the other party was indeed attacking them. In front, a core elder looked over and said coldly, Susu, come over. You'd better not have anything to do with the Divine Union. Bai Susu was the daughter of an elder, so she naturally had to be taken away. Bai Susu's face turned ugly when she heard this. This meant that the True Path sect had given up on Lin Xian and chosen the Dragon Prince. Bai Susu's father, Elder Bai, stepped forward and said, It's not good to start a fight at such a grand event. I don't think the Dragon Tribe will start a fight. Elder Bai, you'd better stay out of this. The powerhouse of the 10,000 Dragon Court said coldly. The Dragon Prince sneered. Do you have the right to interfere in Ben Huang's matters? Elder Bai's face turned cold too. However, he didn't say anything else. He was only a core elder and couldn't go against the entire Dragon Tribe. All right, people of the Divine Union, kneel down and accept your death. We'll let the world know the consequences of challenging the Dragon Prince. The powerhouses of the Dragon Tribe stood up and towered above the 9 heavens. Around them, the Blue Tribe and the other aristocratic families sneered and stepped forward. The other sects and families looked on coldly. Who would dare to stop the Dragon Prince? It could only be said that the people of the Divine Union didn't know their limits. The geniuses of the Divine Union also came from their own families and sections. Many of them stepped forward. For example, the Nalan family, the Duga family, and even the Fire Dragon family stepped forward. Why? Do you want to be exterminated? In that case, I'll fulfill your wishes. Long, Huangzi stepped forward, and the people around him felt their scalps go numb. At this moment, Elder Bai stepped forward. When the people in the Soul Realm appeared, they also formed a force. Many people were surprised. They hadn't expected that so many people would still stand by Lin Xian's side under such circumstances. This was unbelievable. So what? The leader of the Blue Tribe snorted. You guys are just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Apart from the 10,000 Dragon Court, the number of remote antiquity families and sects on their side far exceeded that of the Divine Union. If they really fought, the people of the Divine Union would be annihilated in an instant. Really? What if we were included? Another shout was heard. Then the Pale Cauldron sect from the Taiching ancient city walked over and stood on the side of the Divine Union. Wushuang City was also here. Fu Hongye, Lu Yuan, and the others had led the people of Wushuang City over from afar. Although Wushuang City had just been established and couldn't be compared to the remote antiquity families, they weren't afraid. However, they weren't afraid. They also stood up. The Eternal Life Hall and the Fire God Palace had also stepped forward. Many people were even more shocked by the arrival of 2 other top-notch sections. This time, the strength of the Divine Union was even stronger than before. Everyone was observing the situation. The people of the Sky Sect squinted their eyes. Had Lin Xian not appeared yet? Kun Pingzi asked. The people of the Sky Sect shook their heads. They didn't know where his real body was. Perhaps he was really a coward. On the other side, Yi Wudao and the elders of the Yi family were also standing there. Yi Wudao had said that they would take action if necessary. On the other side, the people of the Purple Mansion, Wind Tribe, and Golden Crow tribe sneered. It seemed like they didn't need to do anything. Lin Xian and the others would be annihilated. The Crimson Dragon also roared. So what if it was the 10,000 Dragon Court? Could they represent the dragon tribe? He let out a terrifying dragon roar. The sea in the distance surged, and countless dragon shadows appeared. Chapter 5069. Another member of the dragon race? Countless people were shocked when they saw this. The people of the dragon palace frowned. An elder of the 1,000 dragons court snorted. The dragon race of the Black Sea? So you're from the dragon race of the Black Sea? The people around them were enlightened. The dragon race was divided into many groups, such as the 1,000 dragons court. Other than that, there were the fire dragon race and the flying dragon race. Long Ao was from the dragon sea. Other than that, there were other powerful members of the dragon race of the Black Sea. They didn't expect the crimson dragon beside Lin Xian to be from the dragon race of the Black Sea. The elites of the dragon race of the Black Sea came nearby. They had powerful auras of the dragon race. They shouted angrily, "1,000 dragons court, if you want to fight, we'll fight you to the end." "You want to fight me?" The dragon prince snorted. It seemed that the dragon race of the Black Sea didn't need to exist anymore. His voice was filled with terrifying killing intent. Everyone's pupils constricted. The dragon race of the Black Sea snorted. "You can say that when you become a true emperor. You're not qualified now. Is that so?" Long Huangzi took a step forward. His power exploded and swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone felt their bodies shake as if they were about to split open. It was too terrifying. They couldn't imagine what level the Dragon Prince had reached. Following the Dragon Prince's actions, the 1,000 dragons court, the Dragon Sea race, and the Blue race. The dragon race of the Blue race, and the surrounding sects all walked up. They emitted terrifying killing intent. A battle was about to break out. The dark red divine dragon and the others had solemn expressions. Although they had also brought along many powerful clans, although they had many powerful families, if they really fought, they would be at a disadvantage. At this critical moment, the void shattered. An iron rod appeared in the air and slashed toward the Dragon Prince. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Endless cracks appeared in the void. The dragon race experts around the Dragon Prince spat out blood and flew backward. A few of them instantly turned into a bloody mist. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who dared to attack the Dragon Prince? The Dragon Prince was furious. Did they want to die? He roared angrily and punched out. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. In the next moment, the Dragon Prince's heart sank. He could feel that the attack was extremely powerful and contained a vast amount of energy. It made his fists feel numb. He faced the sky and roared. 10,000 dragon phantoms appeared on his body, shattering heaven and earth. Only then did he manage to block the attack. The surrounding people all retreated frantically. They were shocked. Who was it? Why was the Dragon Prince so angry? Could it be that he was an extremely terrifying veteran expert? In their opinion, there was no one in the younger generation who could compete with the Dragon Prince, unless it was an expert from the older generation. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared furiously. No matter which family he was from, he was going to die. You and your family and sect don't even think about living. How arrogant! You actually dare to threaten me? Eat old Sun's rod. A cold shout was heard, and the iron rod swept out again. The Dragon Clan's elder was sent flying. That elder spat out blood and screamed miserably. He did everything he could to resist, but half of his body was still shattered, turning into a bloody mist. So powerful. Even the elders of the Dragon Clan were no match for him? Who are you? Even the elders of the Taoist sect stepped forward. They stood in the void. The divine generals of the Sacred Abyss Tower were also facing a great enemy. Now that the Dragon Prince was crowned, he was under their protection. In the void, a figure appeared. Everyone looked carefully. It was a monkey. Everyone was stunned. A monkey holding an iron rod with auspicious clouds dancing under his feet, stood between heaven and earth. What was even more shocking was that the vitality in his body was very strong. It seemed that he wasn't an elder at all. He was a young expert. Was he another top young genius? Everyone felt that they were going crazy. There was someone in the younger generation who could compete with the Dragon Prince. What was going on? Everyone was dumbfounded. Kuin Pengzi's eyes burst out with a terrifying black and white light. The Dragon Prince couldn't believe it. His face was pale. In the next moment, he walked out and said loudly, "Tell me your background, or don't blame me for being impolite." Sun Qitian laughed. "Impolite? You? To be honest, old Sun, don't take you seriously. Show me all you have." If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize that this was Sun Qitian, whom he had rescued from the underworld. The Dragon Prince's face was cold. Someone dared to challenge him at the moment of his coronation. He couldn't stand it. What made him even angrier was that the other party attacked before he even made a move. An iron rod swept out in all directions and attacked. The Dragon Prince was furious. Dragon, Tao Divine Fist. With a punch, all kinds of divine dragon phantoms appeared and blocked the terrifying iron rod. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. Then a great battle broke out. They charged towards the clouds. The void above the 9 heavens shattered. All kinds of laws gathered, and the sky was torn into nothingness. It was too terrifying. They were evenly matched. This monkey could really compete with the Dragon Prince. Countless terrified voices sounded. The people of the Dragon Palace couldn't believe it. Kuin Pengzi's face was cold. The people beside him asked, "What's going on?" Kuin Pengzi gritted his teeth and said, "Can't you feel it?" He has a powerful bloodline in his body that seems to be able to cut through heaven and earth. I guess it's very likely that he's also a Dharch. Or maybe he obtained the inheritance of a Dharch and cultivated it since he was young. Kuin Pengzi could only think of 2 kinds of people who had such a bloodline. However, no matter which one it was, they were both peerless enemies. One of them was the son of a Dharch, and the other was the disciple of a Dharch. They couldn't be underestimated. The people on the Divine Union's side were also stunned. Originally, they had been facing a formidable enemy. They had been facing the Dragon Prince's anger. However, they hadn't expected this to happen. A monkey with amazing strength fought with the Dragon Prince directly. They all heaved a sigh of relief. Baisusu also said, "That's great. We've finally won some time." However, Hanya had a strange expression. He glanced at his father, Han Shangjun. He asked, "Father, is that him?" Han Shangjun took a deep breath and nodded. "It shouldn't be wrong. It's him. I didn't expect him to come here. Was it a coincidence?" The toad exclaimed, "No way. You know him? Do you know his origin?" The other people of the Divine Union also looked over. Han Shangjun said, "I've never heard of this monkey. I know his origin, but do you know him?" "We don't know him. It's Lin Gongzi who knows him." "What? Lin Xian knows this monkey?" Baisusu and the others were even more stunned. Han Shangjun said a few simple words, and everyone understood. It turned out that this monkey had been suppressed in the 18 levels of hell and had been saved by Lin Xian. They had even become brothers. "That's great." The Crimson Dragon and the others laughed. With such an expert here, they would be able to contend with the Dragon Prince. Let's see if the people of the Dragon Palace still dared to be arrogant. Chapter 5070. Hey, Brother Monkey, we're Lin Wudi's brothers and friends. The Crimson Dragon shouted from below. The Toad shouted too. "Brother Monkey, the guy you're fighting is our enemy. He wants to kill Lin Wudi. You have to avenge us." The surrounding people were stunned when they heard this. These 2 guys are too naive. Do they think they can get close to Lin Wudi by calling him Brother Monkey? Are you kidding me? The people from Dragon Palace sneered. They felt that the Crimson Dragon and the Toad were too stupid. But at this moment, a voice came from the 9 heavens. Really? You guys know my brother Lin Wudy? Then we're brothers too. Sun Qitian looked at the Dragon Prince in front of him and his face darkened. How dare you lay your hands on my brother? Take my rod. Boom! This blow shattered the heavens and earth, and the ground below was shaking nonstop. If this wasn't Primeval City, this blow would have turned the city into ashes. The Dragon Prince was pushed back and his face changed. He roared and used the Dragon Traversal 9 transformation technique to attack. F***CK. What's going on? This monkey really knows Lin Wudy. And their brothers. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The people from Dragon Palace were so angry that they vomited blood. It can't be so coincidental, right? Lin Wudy? Damn it. Damn it. Had the people from the Divine Union specially invited him over? Kunpengzi and the rest were shocked too. How many tricks does Lin Wudy have up his sleeves? Another shocking blow came from the sky. The Dragon Prince's face turned ugly. Monkey, you've pissed me off. A long spear appeared in his hand. It was a dragon spear. It was extremely terrifying and was held by him. Thousands of dragons were roaring, and the Dragon Prince's bloodline was exploding. It seemed like a shocking battle was about to happen. Everyone looked up at the sky and they were excited. Sun Qitian snorted, and his iron rod shook the sky. He sneered. Do you think I'm afraid of you? His iron rod was rusty, but mysterious runes appeared one after another, bursting out with dazzling light. A great battle was about to break out. But at this moment, a bell rang from afar, sweeping in all directions. The entire St. Origin ancient city heard it. What happened? Everyone looked into the distance, with shock on their faces. Sun Qitian and the Dragon Prince also stopped. The surrounding experts who were watching the coronation also took a deep breath. The Divine General of the Sacred Abyss Tower exclaimed. It was the sound of the Sacred Origin Tower's bell. Someone had reached the peak. What? Countless people were shocked. They were not unfamiliar with this voice. Previously, when the Dragon Prince had reached the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower, he had made such a sound. Now it was being spread out again. Heavens, who was it? In such a short time, other than the Dragon Prince, someone else had reached the peak. Who exactly was it? The faces of the people of Dragon Palace darkened. The elders of the 10,000 Dragon dynasty gritted their teeth. Damn, what was going on? Today was the day of their prince's coronation, and they had thought that they would be able to shake the world. However, this was completely out of their expectations. First, a monkey jumped out and fought with their prince to a standstill. Now, there was news that someone had reached the top of the Sacred Abyss Tower. This completely attracted everyone's attention, and no one paid any more attention to their Dragon Prince. Damn it, someone was ruining their good fortune. No matter who it was, they would never let this person go. Sacred Abyss Tower. At this moment, the people inside were shocked. This was the sound of someone reaching the peak. Someone had reached the peak. Who was it? Countless people went to the main hall on the first floor to look for the ranking. The Divine Generals were also alarmed. One by one, they soared into the air and began to search. At this moment, in the main hall, everyone was looking at the Sacred Origin ranking that was shining with golden light. They were searching. Kunpengzi and the Dragon Prince had reached the peak one after another. After them, a new name appeared. It was Mad God. It was him. It was Mad God. Heavens, wasn't he in the top 1,000 a dozen years ago? He could reach the peak in a dozen years. This was too heaven-defying. What kind of person is this Mad God? I'm guessing that he's an emperor, a peerless expert. Where was Mad God? Exclamations were heard one after another. At the same time, the news quickly spread in all directions. The Divine Generals also heard the news, and they were all dumbfounded. It was Mad God. Divine General Yungo and the others were shocked. Divine General Haiyuan also took a deep breath. They were not unfamiliar with this person. They had worked together before. However, in the past dozen years he had disappeared and never appeared again. They did not expect him to reach the peak as soon as he appeared. It was too unbelievable. Find him. This time they had to find him. These divine generals moved out one after another. They would not let the other party escape. They had to see who the other party was. Divine General Haiyuan and the others moved quickly. As for Lin Xian, at this moment he felt a magical aura. It pierced through heaven and earth. He was baptized. This aura made his life level rise again. Although Lin Xian wasn't an emperor's son, his bloodline and physique were truly extraordinary. He had far surpassed a great sage. Endless resources fell from the sky. This was his reward for reaching the peak. Lin Xian opened the sword world and took it all in. This was enough for him to create another Four-Spirit Valley. This reward was too generous. Lin Xian was overjoyed. At the same time, he proved that he was not weaker than the emperor. Whatever the crown prince could do, he could do as well. He was crowned king. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with an extremely terrifying light. At this moment, the void fluctuated, and a few figures quickly rushed over. Lin Xian looked over and was stunned. The people who rushed over were also stunned. They were none other than the divine generals of the sacred Abyss Tower. These people wanted to investigate Mad God's true identity, but they were stunned when they arrived. "It's you, Lin Xian." They were dumbfounded. They also knew this person. Why was he here? For a moment, their minds were blank. Soon they reacted. Could it be that he was Mad God? They were really shocked. They had thought that there were many possibilities for Mad God. He could even be a peerless genius of other monarch races. However, they had never thought that Mad God was Lin Xian. This was too shocking. In an instant, they understood a lot. No wonder Mad God had helped Lin Xian many times before. It turned out that the two of them were the same person. Seniors, long time no see. Lin Xian cupped his fists and smiled. "Lin Gongzi, you're really good. You've been hiding it from us for a long time." Divine General Haiyuan also smiled and went up to greet him. At the same time, the news here spread. In the Dao sect, where the coronation was held, countless people were waiting anxiously. They had already sent people to investigate which expert had reached the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower. At this moment, news came back. Reporting to the Patriarch, "We've found out." Several figures knelt on one knee on the ground, their faces filled with excitement. Chapter 5071. Who is it? Those experts quickly asked. They were very curious. The others also pricked up their ears. They had already guessed a few people. These people were all ranked in the top 5 on the Holy Gulf leaderboard. Only a few of them could succeed. The guard in front said, "It was Mad God. Mad God had reached the peak." What? Mad God? The surrounding people were all stunned when they heard this. They were not unfamiliar with this name because this was an expert who suddenly rose to power more than 10 years ago. In just a few moves, he had reached the 1,000th place on the Holy Gulf leaderboard, which shocked countless people. Later on, he even challenged everyone. Especially when he was in the Heavenly Court ruins, he became famous and caused countless exclamations. However, no matter how strong he was still far from reaching the peak. No one would think that Mad God could reach the peak. But now, these guards were telling him that the one who reached the peak was Mad God. This was too unbelievable. "Are you sure?" The old men roared crazily. The guard said, yes, the Holy Gulf leaderboard had shown Mad God's name, which was on par with Kunping Zi and Dragon Prince. It was really Mad God. Countless people were shocked. Others had different expressions after hearing this. The faces of the Blue Clan and the people of the Dragon Palace turned ashen. the faces of the people of the Dragon Palace turned cold, especially Dragon Prince, whose eyes were filled with extremely cold, killing intent. What was Mad God trying to do? Why didn't he break through earlier or later? Why did he have to break through when he was crowned? Was he challenging him? More importantly, Mad God was on Lin Xian's side. In other words, another powerful enemy had appeared. Damn it. Is there something wrong with the Holy Gulf Tower? How could that trash reach the peak? Dragon Prince did not believe it. Kunping Zi also frowned. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to compete with Dragon Prince. Now there was Mad God who had reached the peak. Was he going to be crowned as well? This change was really too fast. The other geniuses felt a huge amount of pressure. They realized that there was a watershed now. These princes had reached the peak and were crowned as kings. There were few top princes who could compete with them, but there were very few of them. No matter how strong the others were, he could only look up at these people. Perhaps the gap between the two of them would never be able to be crossed in this lifetime. The people from the Divine Union laughed heartily when they heard this. That was great. The Mad God was on their side. We are saved here. This was what the ordinary members of the Divine Union thought. However, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad were even happier. They knew that Mad God was Lin Xian. Previously, Lin Xian's main body had gone to attack the Sacred Abyss Tower, and now he had finally achieved results. Quickly go and investigate. What kind of snobbish person was Mad God? The people from the surrounding clans and sects sent people out again. However, at this moment, a few figures flew over from afar. Their speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they were already in the sky. Everyone looked up and cried out in surprise. It's him. They discovered that the newcomers were divine generals from the sacred Abyss Tower. In addition, standing at the front was a young man that everyone was very familiar with. Lin Xian. Was he going to challenge the Dragon Prince this time? What kind of joke was this? If he had hidden, he might have been able to live for a few more years. If he came out now, he would definitely be slapped to death. Damn brat! How dare you come here? The people from the Dragon Palace immediately jumped out. The people from the Blue Clan were even more furious. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian's gaze turned into a divine sword and pierced through these people. These people were instantly nailed to death in the void. The others felt their scalps go numb. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so bold as to kill other experts here. You're courting death. How dare you attack? Angry shouts could be heard. Lin Xian sneered. I've said it before. Ants have no right to jump in front of me. Otherwise you'll die. Whoever is not convinced can come here. I'll bestow death upon them. Lin Xian's gaze swept across the surroundings. Everyone felt their scalps go numb as they felt a biting cold. He was too strong. Had Lin Wudy become so strong? Just his gaze alone was enough to make them unable to resist. Brat, you really dared to come. The Dragon Prince laughed. At first, I thought that I wouldn't be able to find you if you hid. I didn't expect you to be such an idiot. Since you're here, leave your last words. Today I'm going to kill you. I want everyone to know the consequences of going against me. The Dragon Prince was bursting with terrifying, murderous intent. Killing Lin Xian here was something he had decided to do long ago. A few elders of the True Path sect walked out and said coldly, Lin Xian, apologize to the Dragon Prince. Then we'll spare your life. Yeah, you're too much. Apologize to the Dragon Prince now. Today is the Dragon Prince's coronation. If you dare to cause trouble, don't blame me for suppressing you personally. A cold voice could be heard, causing everyone's face to change. Baisusu and the others looked solemn. Damn it. Has the Dao sect completely sided with the Dragon Prince? Lin Xian furrowed his brows as well. He turned his head around and realized that the few elders in the group were extremely powerful. They were even more terrifying than Elder Bai. Could it be that they were even more terrifying? Core elders? He knew that with his relationship with the Dragon Prince, the Tao sect could only support one of them. But he didn't care, because he hadn't shown his true strength yet. He wanted to see if all the elders of the True Path sect would support the Dragon Prince when he was crowned as a king. With that thought in mind, Lin Xian burst into laughter. Was he even worthy of apologizing? Hearing this, everyone's face changed. If the Dragon Prince didn't deserve it, then no one else in the world deserved it. The elders of the Tao sect looked cold. Lin Xian, don't you dare refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Now is not the time for you to behave atrociously. One of the divine generals walked out and said in a deep voice, "Leave quickly. The king naming ceremony wasn't over yet." The elders of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty walked out and wanted to attack. At this moment, Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You want to attack me? Can you bear the consequences? Let me tell you, I'm not here to behave atrociously. I have something to do." "What can you do? Are you here to watch the king naming ceremony?" "I'm sorry, the dragon race doesn't welcome you." "Scram!" The people of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty shouted coldly. At this moment, an iron rod smashed over and tore through the 9 heavens. The people of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty felt their blood boil. Sun Qitian said coldly, "If you dare to say another word, I'll destroy your soul." "Damn monkey!" The expert of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty gritted his teeth. Sun Qitian waved the iron rod and smashed him into pieces. A tragic cry spread out and everyone's scalps went numb. Sun Qitian snorted coldly, "I already warned you and you still dared to speak. I'll send you to hell." Everyone was shocked. This monkey was too strong. Lin Xian smiled. "Brother Monkey, you're here too. Don't worry, Brother Lin. With me here, who dares to bully you?" Chapter 5072. The Dragon Prince stood there with a cold expression. There was no need for him to do anything. Someone would take care of these people. As expected, the elders of the Path sect walked out. The divine generals of the Sacred Abyss Tower also walked out. They were all fully supportive of the Dragon Prince. They would never allow anyone to challenge the king-conferring ceremony. With so many elders coming out, the others felt their scalps go numb. Even if these two were imperial princes, they could only run away in the face of such terrifying experts. This was too much. Sun Qitian was furious. His body emitted a terrifying light. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, Brother Monkey. Let me do it." He walked forward. The surrounding people were stunned. Even the monkey couldn't do anything to them, but Lin Xian could do it? What a joke! The surrounding people were all experts of the older generation. They were so strong that they could crush the other party with a finger. The people of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty sneered. They wanted to see what tricks the other party could play. Lin Xian looked at the Dragon Prince and sneered. "I'll participate in your king-conferring ceremony? You're thinking too much. What's so good about your king-conferring ceremony? I'm not interested. I'm here because I want to be crowned king-conferring ceremony." "What?" The people around him were all stunned. Their brains couldn't even react. Lin Xian's words were too shocking. He wasn't interested in the Dragon Prince's king-conferring ceremony. He wanted to be crowned king-conferring ceremony. Heavens, what kind of joke was this? Was being crowned king-conferring ceremony something that could be conferred as one wished? It wasn't a title that was given casually. One had to reach the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower to be qualified. Otherwise, who would dare to be crowned king-conferring ceremony? They would be smashed into a bloody mist by the Divine General. Now, Lin Xian was saying such arrogant words in front of the Divine General? The Divine General in the square ahead was also enraged. His eyes were like divine swords that pierced through heaven and earth as he stared at Lin Xian. "Are you challenging the dignity of the Sacred Abyss Tower? Hurry up and kneel down and kowtow. Otherwise, Even if you're a disciple of the path, I can destroy your soul. It's over. This brat is dead. Everyone shook their heads. Who could save him when the divine general was angry? Even this monkey couldn't do it. The people of Dragon Palace sneered. What an idiot. The people from the Blue Clan and Zifu heaved a sigh of relief. Great, they could finally watch this guy die. Let's see who dares to touch him. However, at this moment, a loud and clear voice rang out between heaven and earth. Immediately after, two figures that resembled war gods appeared around Lin Xian. Everyone was dumbfounded because they were also two divine generals. What's going on? Why would these two immortal generals help Lin Xian? Everyone was confused. The people of Dragon Palace frowned. He was the immortal general of the Dragon Prince. Divine General Fire Cloud said with a cold expression, "What is the meaning of this? Do you want to break the rules of the Sacred Abyss Tower as well? Or did this kid give you some benefits?" Questioning voices sounded. The atmosphere between heaven and earth froze. Divine General Ocean Abyss said coldly, "We didn't break the rules. We came here to witness Lin Xian's coronation. Him being crowned king? What kind of joke was this? Was he qualified?" The Dragon Prince sneered. The people around him also laughed. Divine General Yungu said that he was indeed qualified. As soon as he said that, the laughter between heaven and earth stopped. He was qualified. What a joke! They didn't understand. However, at this moment, the pupils of a few experts suddenly shrank. An elder of the earth sect exclaimed. Someone had just reached the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower. Could it be you? As soon as he said that, the others were in an uproar. No way! Wasn't it said that the one who reached the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower was Mad God? Why was it Lin Xian again? That's right, it definitely couldn't be him. How could he be Mad God? However, there were also people who said that it wasn't right. One could not use their real names in the sacred Abyss Tower. Dragon Prince, Kuanping Zi, those were all titles. Mad God could also be a title. Besides, no one knew Mad God's true identity. Perhaps it really was that kid. As soon as he said that, countless people were in an uproar. They all looked up at the sky. Was it really him? Were you Mad God? The Dragon Prince was also stunned. After being slapped in the face by the Ocean Abyss Divine General, he was so angry that his whole body was trembling. Lin Xian looked disdainfully in all directions and said loudly, "That's right, I'm Mad God." Everyone was going crazy. Was it really him? They had only guessed before, but now they heard it with their own ears. They were still extremely shocked. The people from the Blue Tribe, Purple Mansion Tribe, and Golden Crow Tribe were all stunned. They couldn't believe it. However, the other experts had grave expressions on their faces. They carefully recalled the relationship between Mad God and Lin Xian. They realized that Mad God had always helped Lin Xian with all his might. If the two of them were the same person, then everything that had happened before could be explained. In addition, the arrival of the two divine generals was enough to prove that all of this was true. The other party was Mad God. The people from the Divine Union were also stunned. They knew that Mad God was on their side. However, they had never imagined that their boss, the leader of the Divine Union, would be Mad God himself. This was too unbelievable. After the shock, they were ecstatic. Great, their boss Lin had also reached the peak. He had been crowned king. He wasn't any weaker than the Dragon Prince. Let's see who still dares to look down on us. The Nayland family, the Duga family, the Pale Cauldron sect, and the other supporters of the Divine Union were also stunned. To be honest, they had all received help from Lin Xian. Now that Lin Xian was in danger, they naturally had to help him. However, Mad God's identity still shocked them. The people from the Fire Dragon tribe were also scared. Fortunately, they had still stood on Lin Xian's side. Otherwise, they would have been the first to be destroyed by Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked ahead and said coldly, Fire Cloud Divine General, do I have the right to stand here? Do you still want to make a move on me? A questioning voice rang out, shocking countless people. Was this fellow trying to contend with the patriarchs? The Fire Cloud Divine General snorted, but didn't say anything. Even the patriarchs of the Path sects had cold looks on their faces. Elder Bai laughed heartily. Lin Gongzi, you are indeed unexpected. Our Path sect is going to hold another king bestowment ceremony today. After saying that, he flew into the distance and waved his hand, creating an empty space. Lin Xian also walked in that direction. Today I will be crowned king. Lin Xian's voice reverberated in all directions. The people who had come to congratulate him were shocked. Crowning 2 kings in one day was something that had never happened before. Was it actually going to happen before their eyes? Were they going to witness history? Countless, shocked voices were heard. This was too unbelievable. These people looked at the Path sect with envy. 2 kings had appeared in the Path sect in one day. They would probably reach the peak in the future and surpass the other orthodoxies. Indeed, the people from the Sky sect and the Earth sect had ugly looks on their faces. This was especially so for the Sky sect. Previously, Kuan Pengzi had been crowned first, allowing them to surpass the other 2 orthodoxies. It could be said that they were unparalleled. But now, the Path sect had 2 geniuses crowned kings, completely surpassing them. The people from the Earth sect had ugly looks on their faces. They didn't even have one. Chapter 5073. Kuan Pengzi's eyes shone with a cold light as he stared at Lin Xian. Previously, it was only rumored that Lin Xian could fight against the Dragon Prince. But fighting against 2 moves and being on par with the Crown Prince were 2 different things. In his opinion, the Dragon Prince was just careless. Once he attacked with his full strength, Lin Xian would definitely die. Therefore, he didn't take it to heart. But now, it was completely different. The other party was Mad God. He had reached the peak of the Holy Abyss and was going to be crowned king today. This showed that he was not weaker than them. The other party was not a crown prince and did not have a powerful bloodline, but he was not weaker than them. This was something that only a young great emperor could do. The other party had the potential to become a great emperor. This was not good news for him. Yi Wudao took a deep breath. As expected of Brother Lin, he was indeed strong. But I won't fall behind. His eyes shone with a cold light. On the other side, Gu Feng of the Gu family gritted his teeth. He and Lin Xian were enemies. At this moment, the other party was extremely dazzling, so he was naturally angry. Some of the other geniuses were filled with killing intent, some were envious, and some were about to go crazy. The heavenly sect elder's face was cold. At this moment, he sneered. 2 kings being crowned? I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. Old Zhang, what do you mean? The heavenly sect disciples were puzzled. The heavenly sect elder laughed. If it was someone else who was crowned king, they would naturally be above us in the end. But now, these 2 kings are mortal enemies. There will be a battle between the 2 of them, and only one of them can survive. Do you think this is a good thing for the Tao sect? Perhaps in the end, both sides would suffer great losses, or even perish together. The Tao sect will not allow such a thing to happen. I think they can only choose one of the 2. How could the other be willing to be abandoned? This was a king. He was a young, great emperor. How could such a person not retaliate? So no matter what, the Tao sect would be unlucky. Hearing this, the crown prince of the heavenly sect also gloated. When the others heard this, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. They also wanted to see how the situation would develop. After Lin Xian landed, a crown appeared in the hands of the divine general of the sea abyss. He was about to crown Lin Xian as king. However, only Elder Bai from the Tao sect had come. The other elders had not come. They were all on the Dragon Prince's side. Many people were shocked. It seemed like the True Path sect was going to choose the Dragon Prince. Someone sighed. It couldn't be helped. Although Lin Xian was extraordinary, the Dragon Prince was even more terrifying. He was an imperial prince, and he had an imperial clan behind him. His strength was definitely not something that Lin Xian could compare to. Therefore, it was normal for them to give up on Lin Xian. Everyone knew that it wasn't because Lin Xian was weak. However, the Dragon Prince was too powerful. His status and background surpassed everything else. At this moment, another old man walked out from the path. He had the demeanor of a transcendent being, like an old immortal. His eyes flickered with a mysterious light. His appearance caused the people from the Tao sect to immediately salute him. Greetings, fantasy world old ancestor. Lin Xian also looked over and narrowed his eyes. He had seen ancestor Huan Shi once before. He had come out during the Tao sect's gathering. This was a true ancestor. His decision alone was worth the opinions of hundreds of Tao sect's elders. Therefore, everyone wanted to know who ancestor Huan Shi supported. The Dragon Prince also looked back and bowed slightly. Greetings, ancestor Huan Shi. Ancestor Huan Shi nodded. Dragon Prince, I'm not too late to be crowned king, right? Hearing this, the Dragon Prince smiled. Senior, you're too polite. It's the honor of the dragon race for you to come. Senior, please. The people from the Dragon Palace hurriedly invited ancestor Huan Shi over. At the same time, they were overjoyed that a Tao sect ancestor was on their side. This could very well represent the will of the Tao sect. In other words, the Tao sect supported them and gave up on Lin Xian. When the others saw this, they were also in an uproar. Many people shook their heads and sighed. Lin Xian, mad god, what a pity. The people from the Divine Union were also in despair. Bai Su and the others gritted their teeth. Damn it, how did this happen? Even after being crowned king, I can't compete with the Dragon Emperor? Crimson Dragon and the others gritted their teeth. So what if it's the Tao sect? At most, they could leave this place and find an opportunity to kill the Dragon Prince. They were extremely angry. The Dragon Prince turned to Lin Xian and smiled. Looks like you've been abandoned. Today is the day you die. Even if you reach the peak, you'll still fall. No one can save you. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. Has the Tao sect already made their choice? So what? Even if he left the Tao sect in the future, he could still move forward. Besides, he would have to kill the Dragon Prince sooner or later. At that moment, another figure flew out from the depths of the Tao sect. Countless people were stunned because the aura of the person who came out was equally terrifying. It was as if the world was going to collapse. Everyone was in an uproar. This was the combat strength of the Tao sect ancestor. Was another ancestor coming out? Even the illusory world ancestor was stunned. He frowned and looked behind him with a mysterious light in his eyes. The illusory world ancestor had a pair of magical eyes and an extremely powerful soul. However, the person who came had a powerful strength. He was like a god of war who could easily tear the world apart. Savage! The illusory world ancestor frowned. The people from the other two orthodoxies also exclaimed. It was the savage wilderness ancestor. The people from the Tao sect were stunned. The savage wilderness ancestor snorted coldly. Why haven't I come out for a long time? Are the disciples of the Tao sect so unruly now? He stomped his foot, and the blood of the people around him churned. Many of them vomited blood. The Tao sect disciples came back to their senses and hurriedly bowed. Greetings, savage wilderness ancestor. Please forgive us. The others felt their scalps go numb. This power is too terrifying. The people from the Heaven sect and Earth sect frowned. The Tao sect had a total of 5 ancestors. They were the 5 giants. Now 2 of them had come out. This situation was very abnormal. Could it be that the Dragon Prince was so important? The Dragon Prince also took a deep breath, and a hint of excitement appeared in his eyes. These were the true giants. Now that 2 of them were standing on his side, even Kun Pengzi would not be able to compete with him. Thinking of this, he smiled proudly. However, his smile quickly disappeared. The others widened their eyes, and their eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. The savage wilderness ancestor did not come to the Dragon Prince's side. Instead, he walked to Lin Xian's side. He kept nodding. Interesting. 9 young divine body, right? Little guy, I didn't expect you to be crowned king. Good, very good. I have high hopes for you. He patted Lin Xian's shoulder. The void around Lin Xian shattered. Lin Xian's blood also churned. The other party had already restrained himself. If the other party patted him with all his strength, his divine body would probably not be able to withstand it. However, he also smiled. Thank you, Senior Savage. Great, there's an ancestor on my side. Chapter 5074. Heavens, the savage wilderness patriarch was actually on Lin Xian's side. Could it be that he supported Lin Xian? The people from the Dragon Palace were dumbfounded. The people from the Blue Clan were stunned, and so were the others. The Sky Sect elders' pupils constricted. Impossible! How could there be two wills in the Tao sect? Could it be that they were supporting two people? The Earth sect experts also tightly knitted their brows. Just what was Tao sect up to? The Fantasy World Patriarch also spoke. What do you mean, savage wilderness? The Savage Wilderness Patriarch laughed. My meaning is very clear. I support this little fellow. I think highly of him. Why didn't you discuss this with me before? The Fantasy World Patriarch's expression was ugly. If this was not handled well, the Tao sect might be doomed. Moreover, with so many families and sects here, wouldn't others be watching the show? The Savage Wilderness Patriarch snorted coldly. Do I need to explain to you what I do? You support yours, I support mine. The Fantasy World Patriarch did not say anything else. This matter was beyond his expectations. Moreover, until now, the other 3 old fellows had not come out. It was obvious that they had tacitly agreed. He heaved a sigh before he remembered. The Tao sect also had a top genius who was also an expert of the dragon race. His name was Long Guang. The Savage Wilderness Patriarch thought highly of him. However, he had fallen later. They knew that it was very likely related to the Dragon Prince. However, the Dragon Prince was the Emperor's son and the Tao sect's only hope. Therefore, the Savage Wilderness Patriarch could not do anything. However, it was different now. Someone had been crowned king and could compete with the Dragon Prince. This way, the Savage Wilderness Patriarch would immediately support the other party. Moreover, Lin Xian probably had some relationship with Long Guang. After all, even the Black Sea's dragon race stood on Lin Xian's side. The following situation was very strange. The coronation of 2 kings had never happened before. Moreover, the Tao sect had tacitly agreed. Lin Xian's coronation process was very fast. He wore a crown and looked down on the world, receiving the envy and worship of countless people. From today onwards, Lin Xian was the king of crowns. His name could already be recorded in history. Furthermore, it would be engraved on the stone tablet of the sacred abyss tower for eternity. The people from Dragon Palace had ugly expressions. Originally, they wanted to use Lin Xian as an example to intimidate the world. But now, not only did he fail, but Lin Xian was now on par with the Dragon Prince. This was completely out of their expectations. Damn it! With the support of the old ancestor, it would be difficult for him to kill the other party in the future. The Dragon Prince's face was cold. He had already decided that after the coronation, he would immediately mobilize experts to kill the other party. He had to kill the other party. This was a huge threat. He would not allow the other party to continue growing. Lin Xian accepted the coronation and was conferred the title of Crown King. He turned around. Everyone, this must be the first time you've seen the coronation of 2 kings. Don't you want to see which king is stronger? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Originally, they all wanted to leave, but at this moment they stopped. All of them looked ahead. What was the meaning of this? Could it be that the other party wanted to attack the Dragon Prince? Heavens, this is too unbelievable. Before this, they were looking forward to Long Huangzi and Kuan Pengzi fighting. Now, Lin Xian was going to attack. But it was the same because Lin Xian was also crowned as king. This was definitely going to be a fierce battle. You want to fight with me? The Dragon Prince also frowned. Lin Xian scoffed coldly. Why? You don't dare? If you don't dare, then kneel down and kowtow to me, and I will let you go. You are asking for death. Stupid thing. I was thinking of an excuse to attack you. Since you want to die, then I will grant you your wish. In the king battle, I will use the emperor's ability. If you are not careful, you will die. Therefore, when the time comes, I hope that the seniors and divine generals will forgive me. The Dragon Prince's voice was filled with killing intent. Everyone knew that he was going to kill him. Lin Xian said that if you can't take my ability, you will go to hell. It was good that the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty knew about this. They didn't want to embarrass themselves here. If the younger generation couldn't beat him, it would be embarrassing if the older generation stepped in. The elders of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty scoffed. They had unlimited confidence in the Dragon Prince. Lin Xian would definitely not lose. Last time, the Dragon Prince was just careless. This time, the Dragon Prince was going to use his full strength to kill Lin Xian. The Dragon Prince raised his hand, and a terrifying aura of the dragon Dao appeared in his hand. A pair of dragon claws that could tear the sky apart. Lin Wuti prepared to die. He struck out with his palm, and it turned into a huge dragon as it pounced over. Green Dragon Palm. The green dragon roared and flapped its wings. An endless storm turned into a heavenly blade. It tore the void apart. This power instantly enveloped Lin Xian. It was too terrifying. The Dragon Prince used the dragon race's secret technique right away. Lin Xian was probably in danger. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm, and a fearless lion seal appeared. He charged forward. The golden lion roared and slashed at the green dragon palm. A dragon and a lion roared between heaven and earth. It shook all directions. Then the green dragon was torn in half by the golden lion. A terrifying golden light enveloped the Dragon Prince. Countless people exclaimed when they saw the scene. It was so terrifying. Not only did Lin Xian block the Dragon Prince's attack, but he was also able to counterattack. A ray of light exploded where the Dragon Prince was, and a terrifying black hole appeared. 10,000 dragons surrounded him and blocked this attack. However, his expression was incomparably ugly. He had underestimated his opponent. Although his opponent was not a crown prince, his combat strength was not weaker than a crown prince's at all. It seemed that he had to take his opponent seriously. 9 dragon transformations. As he spoke, 9 giant dragons rolled between heaven and earth, and a terrifying power swept in all directions. "Aunt, you have angered me." The phantoms of the 5 giant dragons charged toward Lin Xian with powerful force. The surrounding people were terrified. The 9 dragon transformations was a peerless divine ability. It was a great emperor's divine ability. This attack was 5 times stronger than before. Demon God Finger. Lin Xian stretched out 5 fingers and pointed forward. 5 fingers flew out, and 5 rays of light swept across heaven and earth like the spears of a demon god. What he used was also a great emperor's divine ability from the demon summoning scripture. As soon as the 5 demon god fingers appeared, heaven and earth shook. Everyone could see that an endless black hole appeared in the void. There was no power to resist it. The 5 giant dragons collided with the 5 demon god fingers, and a shattering sound was heard. The sky was completely shattered, and the 5 giant dragons let out miserable roars. They suffered a crazy blow and almost collapsed. But it had to be said that the Dragon Prince was really too strong. The phantoms of the 5 giant dragons did not shatter. Instead, their huge bodies began to wrap around the 5 black fingers. They wanted to tear them apart. Lin Xian snorted coldly and punched out, 6-path fist pressing forward. Originally, the two were in a stalemate, but under this punch, the phantoms of the 5 giant dragons instantly shattered. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.